All right, good evening. President Carver, Vice President Pack, Mr. Botfield, Ms. Simichek, Dr. Finch, Mrs. Taylor, district staff and special guests, welcome to the DVUSD Awards and Recognition Ceremony for October 14th, 2025. Tonight we celebrate a wide range of accolades from our schools, to our students, to our educators, and even one of our PTAs that is getting state recognition for its work. We begin this evening with two DVUSD schools earning recognition for supporting their students. Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports, or PBIS, is a proactive approach to establishing the behavioral supports and social culture needed to achieve social, emotional, and academic success. DVUSD schools and staff pride themselves on providing a positive and safe learning environment for our students and community. The 2024-25 Arizona PBIS Coalition Awards recognize schools for successful implementation and outcomes with school-wide systems of positive behavior interventions. 14 of our DVUSD schools were honored by a network of professionals and practitioners right here in Arizona who recognize positive and inclusive K-12 environments. 2 schools earned high levels of distinction, demonstrating multiple tiers of support, earning the Level 3 and Level 4 distinction respectively. For the 24-25 school year, Paseo Hills School earned the Level 3 Fidelity Award. This level refers to the systematic assessment and measurement of how effectively a school is implementing targeted, individualized supports for a small percentage of students who have not yet responded to school-wide supports. A multidisciplinary team, including caregivers, special educators, and mental health providers, uses a database decision-making tree to ensure the plan is working and to make necessary changes to support the needs of each individual student. For Paseo Hills Principal Jamie Hood, this recognition proves that the work being done to support students is not going unnoticed. She explained her reflection on winning the award in this way. Winning the PBIS Level 3 Fidelity Award is an exciting milestone for the Paseo Hills School Rocks team. This recognition reflects our commitment to creating a positive, supportive learning environment for every student. Our team worked collaboratively to ensure consistent Tier 1 behavior expectations were implemented campus-wide. Additionally, the Tier 2 sub-team worked to implement behavior academics with fidelity, collect and review data regularly, and support the broader campus with positive behavior interventions. Earning this award affirms that our collective efforts are making a difference, helping students feel safe, respected, and ready to learn every day. Our team rocks. Congratulations, PBIS Level 3 Fidelity honoree, Paseo Hills School. Come on, buddy. Get your certificate. You gotta come down and talk. Yeah. Our next school, Stetson Hills, is also being recognized for its efforts with PBIS work on campus, earning itself the coveted Level 4 distinction. A Level 4 distinction proves that a school campus has built a culture that is more positive, proactive, and supportive for all students so that they can be successful citizens and leaders of our nation. Stetson Hills Principal Brittany Dyer Herndon had this to say about earning the highest level of PBIS fidelity. Being recognized for the Level 4 Fidelity Award is a tremendous honor for Stetson Hills and a reflection of years of intentional, collective effort by our entire staff. This recognition represents the culmination of our school's commitment to supporting students with behavior in all tiers through strong systems and consistent practices. Our Tier 1, 2, and 3 teams have worked diligently to implement processes that reinforce expectations, promote consistency, support student behavior, and foster a positive school culture. As a result of these efforts, we have seen a significant decrease in office referrals and suspensions, along with notable improvements in student survey data related to school climate and sense of belonging. This award affirms that our dedication to supporting the whole child, academically, socially, and behaviorally, is making a lasting impact on our students and school community. Congratulations, PBIS Level 4 School, Stetson Hills. And next we move on to a Gavel and Peak teacher who is being recognized for her efforts in the classroom at the state level. Hongmin Yu, a 5th grade Mandarin immersion teacher at Gavel and Peak School, was recently named the Arizona Language Teacher of the Year. The award was presented on September 13th by AZLA, the state's leading professional organization for world language educators. This honor recognizes Mrs. Yu's exceptional teaching and dedication to her students. As part of the award, she received a plaque and a $300 stipend to attend the 2026 Southwest Conference on Language Teaching in Denver. There, she will represent Arizona and compete for the title of Southwest Language Teacher of the Year. Ms. Yu had this reflection on her hard work and impact celebrated at the state level. With gratitude to AZLA for this honor, I cherish this blessing and lift my praise to God. The award encouraged my teaching ability and reinforced my confidence. I always think one interview question: how do you make your students happy? True happiness comes from achievement, confidence, and the joy of learning, compared with students' own improvement. I also believe in a growth mindset. There's an idiom from the ancient Chinese classic, The Book of Rites. It explains that teaching and learning promote each other and grow together. Through the process of teaching, students make progress, while teachers can also improve their own skills. I adapt my teaching approach each year to provide the most effective approaches that align with the unique personalities of my current students. While teaching language, I concentrate on the 5 C's: communication, culture, connections, comparisons, and communities. Congratulations, Arizona Language Teacher of the Year, Hongmin Yu. And next we have a teacher making a name for herself in the world of English language arts. We are proud to celebrate Mirage Elementary School's 6th grade ELA teacher, Marcia Carls, who has been selected to receive the Teachers of Excellence Award from the Arizona English Teachers Association at the elementary middle school level. This prestigious award recognizes her outstanding contributions to English education in Arizona and the incredible impact she makes each day in the lives of her students at Mirage. Ms. Carls had this reaction to being named an AETA Teacher of Excellence. The Arizona English Teachers Association recognizes teachers who perform and demonstrate strong leadership and growth in their classrooms while meeting all of their students' needs. Teachers who go beyond normal practices while aiming for sustainable teaching. I go above and beyond every year in my classroom, in my PLC team, and on the Mirage campus. My end goal has always been about students. I lead with integrity, remain humble, and have a heart in the right place. I've spent over 20 years teaching, and I've become a unique leader who continues to grow, set high standards for myself, and always ask how I can improve or help next. Congratulations, AETA Teacher of Excellence, Marcia Carls. In there, Bobby. Our next honoree impressed the competition on the national stage at the recent Future Business Leaders of America competition over the summer. Out of 15,000 contestants, Mountain Ridge High School senior Varsheni Mutu, who after placing first at both regionals and state, placed 8th in the nation during the FBLA public speaking competition. Public speaking allows members to develop and deliver a well-structured speech on a designated topic. This event helps members enhance their confidence, clarity, and persuasive communication skills through a live presentation before a panel of judges. Her advisor, Paul Hintz, noted that she has become one of the best public speakers he has ever seen through his years with FBLA. Varsheni had this reflection after placing 8th in the nation. My journey in public speaking was by no means something that started smooth. From various stumbles in my speeches, entire moments where I would blank out, and the lack of confidence while I was presenting, it is hard to believe I have come so far as to place nationally in public speaking at FBLA Nationals. This achievement, however, would not have been possible without the endless support of my parents, friends, advisor Mr. Hintz, and chapter members who listened to my speech on various occasions and encouraged me through my journey to go the extra mile in everything I did. I am incredibly honored to have received this award after years of competing in public speaking, and I'm proud to represent our school this way. Many people say practice makes perfect, but believe that perfect practice, or as perfect as you can get, is what truly sets you apart from the majority, and I hope others are able to take that away as well. Congratulations to the nationwide 8th place FBLA finalist in public speaking, Varsheni Mutu. And speaking of practice makes perfect, DVUSD recently learned that there are 9 students representing 4 of our high schools who earned a spot amongst the National Merit Scholarship semifinalists this school year. Students enter the National Merit Program by taking the preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, also known as the PSAT or NMSQT. Currently, over 1.3 million students in about 20,000 high schools throughout the nation enter the National Merit Scholarship Program each year. Some 50,000 entrants qualify for program recognition, and approximately 7,600 outstanding students receive scholarships for their undergraduate studies. More than 16,000 of the high scorers, representing less than 1% of the nation's high school graduating seniors, qualify as semifinalists in each annual National Merit Program. They are the only participants who have an opportunity to advance in the competition for some 7,000 merit scholarship awards. Tonight, we have the honor of celebrating the 9 students from DVUSD who made the elite list of semifinalists. We asked each of them to share their thoughts and feelings about the honor, and I'll read from those who responded. First tonight is Barry Goldwater High School senior Felicity Burton. Felicity is an International Baccalaureate, or IB, student at Barry Goldwater and is currently ranked in the top 7% of her class with a GPA of 0.64. Congratulations, Felicity. I'm not sure Felicity is here, but congratulations. Moving on, next representing the Boulder Creek High School Jaguars is Caden Tang. Boulder Creek Principal Brittany Sutton says, "We are so incredibly proud of Caden as he is named National Merit Semifinalist. Caden is an incredible student who challenges himself with the most rigorous coursework BCHS offers, including AP Gov Econ, AP Calculus, and AP Research. He is kind, dedicated, and contributes to the school and community, especially in the engineering program." Caden's engineering teacher, Mr. Baxley, added, "Throughout his 4 years in our engineering program, Caden has consistently demonstrated excellence both in and out of the classroom. He has served as a dedicated officer of the engineering club, holding the roles of treasurer and secretary, where his leadership, professionalism, and initiative have set a high standard for his peers. Caden is also an active career and technical education ambassador and a frequent contributor to our STEM nights, where he shares his knowledge and enthusiasm for engineering with younger students and the community. In addition, he is a valued member of the National Honor Society, exemplifying scholarship, service, leadership, and character. Congratulations, Caden. We are so proud of your incredible accomplishment and are so excited to see the next steps in your adventure." And moving on, we have 4 students representing Mountain Ridge High School on the National Merit Semifinal list. First tonight is Ting Young Lee. Ridge Counselor Carolyn Hansen says, "I'm excited to share a bit about one of our incredible students here at Ridge, Ting Young Lee, known to us as Abby. She's a National Merit Scholarship semifinalist with a knack for academics and a heart set on film. She's not just nailing her classes with an impressive 4.55 GPA, she's also the brain and spirit behind our theater's paint crew and a key player in the art club. What stands out to me the most about Abby isn't just her grades or her artistic talent, it's her genuine kindness, her eagerness to help out by tutoring or volunteering at the library, and her post-secondary ambition that reaches as far as NYU's film school. She has an incredible ability to juggle AP classes, lead with confidence, and dream big, all while staying grounded and ready to lend a hand. Abby's story isn't just about her achievements, it's about her journey, her character, and her bright future she's building. I'm really proud to have students like her at our school. Congratulations, Ting Young." Don't believe she's with us today, but congratulations to her. Next up, we have Shaheen Madanshi is our next honoree from Mountain Ridge and had this to say about being named to the semifinalist list. "I'm honored to be a National Merit semifinalist. I prepped by reading daily news articles or literature, fixing math gaps, and running a few timed PSATs the week before. I prioritized sleep rather than cramming everything at the last minute. I'm grateful to all my teachers, mentors, and my family for pushing and supporting me to succeed. Congratulations, Shaheen." And I'm not sure if he's with us tonight, but next up is Connor Seagraves from Mountain Ridge High School. Connor had a rather unique preparation for ensuring success on the test, explaining, "I got plenty of sleep. I slept at home, and I even slept at school." Congratulations, Connor. And rounding out our Mountain Lion contingent tonight is Isabella Shin. She stated this accomplishment is a demonstration of consistency and hard work. Isabella prepared for the PSAT by using the resources available to her, such as Blue Book practice tests, SAT and PSAT practice books, and working with her math and ELA teachers on any questions she had. Congratulations, Isabella. And this year we have 3 Sandra Day O'Connor High School Eagles who earned their place among the National Merit semifinalists. I'm not sure if any of them are here tonight, but we'll honor all 3 of them. First up for the Eagles is Natik Mohanty. The O'Connor staff had this to say about him. "It's with great pride and enthusiasm that we recognize Natik Mohanty, a member of Sandra Day O'Connor class of 2026 and our top-ranked student out of 670. With a 4.81 weighted GPA and an outstanding PSAT score of 1500, Natik exemplifies academic excellence and intellectual curiosity at the highest level. His impact extends far beyond the classroom. As founder and CEO of his own company, he developed an advanced AI platform for molecular optimization, secured over $200,000 in grant funding, and leads a team of 28 peers, an extraordinary accomplishment for a high school student. Natik's humility, integrity, and leadership continue to inspire both students and staff. Whether he's leading a multi-million-dollar startup, mentoring peers, or volunteering with the Red Cross, he embodies the values of excellence, service, and vision that define Sandra Day O'Connor High School. We're deeply proud to celebrate him as a National Merit semifinalist, a recognition that honors not only his academic talent, but also his dedication to using knowledge for meaningful impact. Congratulations, Natik. Moving on, next we honor fellow O'Connor Eagle Aiden Young. O'Connor counselor Meta Kitna says, "We are proud to recognize Aiden Young as one of our National Merit semifinalists. A true scholar and leader, Aiden has earned not only a perfect score on his PSAT, but also a perfect score on the ACT, as well as in state exams for school. He's also received the AP Scholar with Distinction and Honor Awards. His academic excellence is matched by his character and service. Aiden is actively involved in FBLA, where he has earned both state and national recognition. Outside of school, he works at Chick-fil-A, serves as a youth leader at his church, and volunteers monthly with Feed My Starving Children. A talented cellist and problem solver with a passion for mathematics, Aiden aspires to be a career as an actuary, where he would use his advanced math skills to assess risks and uncertainty for a company. He exemplifies academic excellence, leadership, and service, qualities that make our school and community proud. Congratulations, Aiden, on this outstanding accomplishment." And our final National Merit student tonight is Elizabeth Young. She couldn't make it tonight because she's currently attending an FBLA conference. However, we wanted to recognize her accomplishment as a National Merit semifinalist. Okay. And if we could now have all our National Merit semifinalists back on the steps for a group photo. And finally, tonight we celebrate a PTSC whose members' efforts for their school are earning them state-level recognition. The Arizona PTA awarded Las Brisas PTSA the Local Unit of the Year Award at the 119th Annual Arizona Convention back in June. The Local Unit of the Year is awarded to the group that exhibited outstanding efforts and accomplishments in planned programs and activities that encourage participation to foster the purposes of PTA. The mission of the PTA is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for children. The members of the Las Brisas PTSA had this to say about the recognition. We are proud and grateful to the Arizona PTA for recognizing the positive impact we're making at Las Brisas Elementary. Congratulations, Arizona PTA Local Unit of the Year, Las Brisas Elementary PTSA. And that concludes tonight's awards and recognitions. The regular scheduled board meeting will begin at approximately 7 p.m. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Well, if Mr. Rattay does not. Okay, I'm on. They're not going to unmute yours quite yet. I got to do this. Josh, he wanted to plug into the extension. Dr. Z, can you help him get plugged in? No, his computer. Yeah, thank you. Regular Governing Board meeting Tuesday, October 14th, 2025.
Test.
Test, 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 test.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody out tonight. I'd like to call tonight's meeting of the Deer Valley Governing Board to order at 7:04. Let the roll call show that all members, save Mrs. Fisher, are present. Dr. Z, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. First up on tonight's agenda, item 3A, Dr. Finch.
I actually typed this all up today in the Friday update, so you're getting a preview
About 5 years ago, I had a call from a friend that said, "Hey, you need to know about what's happening up north, and we would like you to come talk to some companies. They're thinking about coming to your neighborhood." And that began a relationship with Christian McKay. She's been a economic and business promoter of our zone, and started a relationship that now is about 7 years old. And every couple of years, I asked her to come back and to talk about what's happening in our zone. I think it's an important zone. Obviously, I think we're going to be the epicenter of Arizona here in the next decade. And so she's going to be giving us an update today about our zone and talk a little bit about some of the things that are coming. And so I'm really excited that she's here. And we could even make her an honorary Deer Valley teacher or something, whatever we need. Member, go ahead. We're glad you're here.
Good evening, President Carter, board members, Dr. Finch. Thank you so much for the privilege of being here with you this evening to give you an update of some of the activity that's going on in the Deer Valley Unified School District. I'm Chris Mackey. Until Friday, I was the Director of Community and Economic Development for the City of Phoenix. And as of the last 2 days, I've been leading the Greater Phoenix Economic Council. So I changed roles from Friday to Monday. So appreciate you having me here. I am going to speak, though, as the Economic Development Director for the City of Phoenix, if that's all right with you. Next slide, please. We have one moment of a technical difficulty, and then we'll get going. There we go. We'll see if this works. As an economic developer, you see in front of you, Phoenix is the 5th largest city in the country. Just to put that in perspective, when you look at those numbers, it's New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Houston, and then Phoenix. We're bigger than Philadelphia. We're bigger than all the rest of the cities. Population is about 1.7 million currently, and we've been the fastest growing city of the decade. As you all know, we're a really large city, about 517 square miles. So we are half the size of the state of Rhode Island. When you look at our city's labor force, we're about 900,000, the region 2.6 million. We're a really young city at 34 years old, and 68% of our citizens have some college. I'll call a moment to that. 10 years ago, when our team started working together, it was only 54% of our citizens that had some college. So I think this is showing with our partnerships with great school districts like Deer Valley Unified School District and others, our universities, the attraction of companies that we've had, we're really driving the needle in the right direction to be where when our children come out of either their certifications out of high school or out of community college or out of university, we've become very sticky. I grew up here. I've been here my whole life, so it's a big passion of mine. When we look at our economic strengths, why people are choosing Phoenix, they're voting with their feet. We're a really livable city. As you know, no one knows better than the people who live in Deer Valley about the beautiful mountain hiking and the great restaurants and the great outdoors. We have an abundance of natural resources. You know, when you think about Phoenix, we kind of go back to the whiskeys for drinking and waters for fighting, and have had a plan to protect that water and our power forever. Strong a culture of entrepreneurship, really well located with Sky Harbor, great favorable business environment, but really steady operating environment, and that is our city council, it's our legislature, it's our school boards that make this a great place where people want to come. We have about 5 disciplines that we truly focus on, whether it's advanced manufacturing, aerospace and defense, as you know here with Honeywell and SpectraWorks, if you haven't toured them yet, a great new drone delivery company here. Our biosciences and life sciences, strong international business trade, really important for foreign direct investment, new money that comes into our market, emerging technologies, and others. These are just some of the logos of companies we've located here in the last few years. 10 years ago, Phoenix wasn't even in the top 100 of places where international investors wanted to place their capital. Today, we're number 6. As we look at opportunities and we look at where they want to place their capital, I've had the privilege of being before this board a number of times to talk about companies and to talk about development opportunities that are coming. And one of the things that I talk to you about are foreign trade zones. So foreign trade zones are governed by the U.S. Department of Commerce, and they are inside the United States, but the areas that are within a foreign trade zone are treated as though they're within an international territory. Importers get to bring materials into the FTZ. They can store it, they can assemble, they can test it, they can get it ready to sell, but they don't pay duty on it until it leaves the zone. So for our high net worth, our high capital investment, capital intensive companies, it really provides that benefit. It's what's causing a lot of the manufacturing to come back to the United States. It was conceived of and put together in 1934, and it was brought forward to help the U.S. become globally competitive again in its manufacturing by reducing costs that are really set against international supply chains. And in Arizona, there's one additional program that reduces the assessed valuation of property tax for those capital-intensive companies. This board has approved 3 foreign trade zones here in the Deer Valley Unified School District. The first I had the privilege of speaking with you was Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company in 2020. The next was Honeywell. Of course, their aerospace and defense organization, their corporate headquarters is located here in Phoenix. And then Sunlit Arizona, who is a supplier to TSMC. I thought I'd take a moment and give you an overview of some of what those considerations by this board have led to, and I'm going to talk about TSMC and Halo Vista. So if we look at TSMC, it is a company, until 2023, about 79% of the world's chips were manufactured in Taiwan. Now that wasn't the case in the 1990s. In the 1990s, 39% of those chips were manufactured in the United States. In the early 2000s, we started to lose our global competitiveness, and a lot of that manufacturing went overseas. Why that's so critical to bring that back is a matter of national security. It goes into our F-35s, it goes into our military equipment, it goes into implantable devices. I don't have my cell phone with me, but you can't use your cell phone without a chip being in your hand. And so that was a big global initiative in 2016, was to bring those technologies back. And Phoenix, the Greater Phoenix Economic Council, the Arizona Commerce Authority chose to go after TSMC. And the reason that we chose to go after TSMC is they are the world's leader in producing the technology that goes into so much of the equipment that's within the United States. They are the only company in the world that can produce chip or technology on transistors below 5 nanometer. And just to put that in perspective, a nanometer is 80 to 100,000th the width of a human hair. So think that's 5 of them. They're manufacturing smaller than a virus is inside of our body. Fab 1, construction started in March of 2021, and I do want to give the board so much credit. The board for Deer Valley and Dr. Finch and his staff took so much time to come down in meetings with 40 different suppliers, with these companies, with their families, with those who are coming here, to make them feel welcome, to help them understand the Deer Valley School District, and of course you're home now to quite a number of those students. That Fab 1 is now open. It opened several years ago and is producing chips commercially. Fab 2 started construction in December of 2022. It is nearing completion of construction. They expect to start rolling chips in early 2027. Recently, an announcement was made for Fab 3 and the office headquarters, announced in 2024, and they both started construction in April. We have a running joke in City Hall. Every Friday afternoon, the inspectors in Deer Valley have to call me and tell me how many cranes are in the air. It's my point of pride for some reason, and the highest number was 39 cranes above grade and 12 cranes below grade. In the whole history of Arizona, that has never happened, so it's a point of pride for us. If we look at TSMC today, with the 3 phases, so Fab 1, which is completed, Fab 2, which is finishing construction, and Fab 3, which has started construction. There are approximately 6,000 jobs there. And for Fabs 1 through 3, that is a $65 billion capital investment. In March, an additional announcement was made with the federal administration of an additional $100 billion investment in the city of Phoenix and Deer Valley, bringing it to $165 billion. I still struggle to get my mind around $165 billion on many days. It is the largest private investment in our country's history and happened right here in Deer Valley. If we look at the impact of just Fabs 1 through 3, and we ran that because we knew we had surety of Fabs 1 through 3, it is about a $33 billion economic impact every 13 years for the region. The construction alone is a $42 billion output for those 3 fabs as they finish construction. And what I mean by output, it's the amount of money that goes into the market, the people that are employed, the people that have disposable income, the people that get jobs. And one of the things I like best about our partnership with TSMC is their workforce connection. So our team works diligently with TSMC and their 40 suppliers that are here in our market. We did create the first apprenticeship program in the entire country for facilities technician, industrial maintenance, and for semiconductor technician. I think what we're so proud about these are, it's a 12-week certification, so our kids can come right out of high school, go through these certifications, and get a really good job with a career path. It was built by Estrella Community College. It led to the city of Phoenix becoming a program sponsor, and then Arizona State University and TSMC have created an internship program that is in incredible demand. They currently have 80 ASU students that are in internship actually on the fab floors. Kind of the surrounding area, you can see the map in front of you. TSMC has 1,100 acres, and of course, the zoning went forward in 2020. What surrounds them is a science and technology park called Halo Vista. When we were pitching to TSMC, that was one of the things that was a requirement of theirs in Taiwan. They contribute their success to being in the middle of a science and technology park. They don't have to fly in their vendors. They don't have to fly in their companies. They walk across the street. They have coffee. They work on solving those problems together. So you can see in the yellow that's around you, that will be the industrial area of Halo Vista. The next area you will see will be the Science and Technology Park. It's called the Sonoran Oasis Research and Technology Park. So that will be where universities are and other research and development takes place. You will have about 500,000 square feet of retail. I think you all heard the announcement 2 weeks ago. Costco has officially signed up as part of the retail, so you'll have a Costco very close to you. And then also 2 new hotels have announced. But this will be where there's destination retailers and restaurant and supporting uses, so employees and people who live in the area can walk or ride their bikes over to this area. There'll be an auto mall on the far north at 74 and I-17. There are 10 dealers that have signed up already. And then a residential, educational, and medical uses that will be in this area. We've stayed in close contact with Deer Valley, a unified school district, on thinking about planning for other schools and not overpromising what could happen here. At estimated build-out, Halo Vista and Halo Vista will have about 62,000 jobs at full build-out, and full build-out is planned for about 25 years from now. So this is a very long-term visionary goal. In front of you, you will see approximately 26 suppliers that have come into the area. You see the map, whether it's Sunlit, whether it's Taiwan Puretics, whether it's ASML or ASM, or others that have come into this area. ASM and ASML are both companies that are headquartered out of the Netherlands and have been in the city of Phoenix for 30 years on the south side of Sky Harbor, supporting other semiconductor companies. The newest supplier to come into the market is Amcor Technologies. They're not new to the market. They have been a 40-year company here in Arizona. In fact, when I was Chandler's economic developer for 17 years, they were a Chandler company, and so I got to work closely with Amcor got to meet with them regularly. They are focused on semiconductor packaging and testing. So to put it in perspective, this isn't a package that goes around the chip to ship it out someplace. It's actually the technology that adheres the chip to the motherboards that go in there. So while we call it a package, it's actually not a plastic package. It actually is part of the printed circuit board. So a great company to work with. It's just a bigger picture of their rendering. They will be in Peoria, just on the west side of Dead Man's Wash. Their groundbreaking was last week in conjunction with Semicon West, which is the country's largest semiconductor trade show that Phoenix worked diligently with our regional partners to win. And the first event was here just this last week. 35,000 semiconductor executives were here in Phoenix for 3 days, and it will be back here again for the next 5 years. President, members of the board, Dr. Finch, I am so pleased to be with you here this evening, and I would be honored to take any questions that you might have. I do want to give you a note. AMCOR will be back before you at your October 28th meeting requesting your consideration of a foreign trade zone as well. And so thank you for your time, and happy to take any questions you might have.
Anything from the board? Then I've got something for you. I think that you'll be the person to help us and the community understand this. So there's this feeling in the community, and I can't help them for feeling this way, because before I got on the board, I kind of assumed the same thing. When businesses came to the area, there must be this huge influx of cash to the school districts because there's more people paying property taxes. Not true. There's more people paying property taxes, but that does not increase the cash flow to the district. It just lessens everybody else's tax burden to support the district. Am I correct in my assumption on that?
President Carver, you're exactly correct. So the pie is that certain size, and the more people that you add into the market, the smaller the pieces of pie that people have to pay are divided up. So it actually helps to reduce the property tax burden on individuals that are already in the market.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted the professional to be able to clarify that. That was what my research had told
Yes,
me,
sir.
but I wanted the community to be able to hear it from somebody besides myself.
Your research was dead spot on.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Dr. Finch?
Just maybe talk a little bit about some of your numbers said it, but talk about the concept of 62,000 jobs and how it impacts Deer Valley.
Absolutely. So we lovingly, so the day that TSMC announced its $100 billion investment, Mayo also announced its $1.9 billion investment in expanding the Mayo Hospital. So we lovingly now call that our B Day. It's not our birthday, it's our Billions Day. And so it is the investment that's coming into our market. But those jobs are really across the board in the job. So I'm a firm believer that all of our citizens deserve a good job, not just those ones that have a college degree, or not just those ones that are highly educated, but our kids that are coming out of high school and others. I've worked passionately with our workforce team on this for years. And when you look at these 62,000 jobs, it is really across the board in what they'll be. Some will be high-end knowledge economy jobs. Some will be more medium-level jobs. Some will be support jobs in the market. We'll need more school teachers. We'll need more people at retail establishments. But it really, those 62,000 jobs, it'll bring more people living and bringing their families and their children into the district. It'll cause more money to be spent in this particular area. Bringing more jobs, not just the 62,000 that are in the Halo Vista itself, but when you look at semiconductor and their supply chain, they have an economic multiplier of 5. It's 5 to 6. So what that means is for every job that a semiconductor company or an advanced manufacturing company brings in, they bring 5 additional jobs. So if you look at, let's call it an estimate of 20,000 jobs that TSMC at ultimate build out could have, it really means 100,000 jobs for this area, for our citizens. It means they're not having to commute so far to go to work. It means they get to spend more time with their families. They get to volunteer at their schools. They get to have more. I'm not driving into downtown Phoenix because now I have a great job that's here. I'm not driving to Chandler to work at an advanced manufacturing company. I get to work right in my own backyard. And that, as we look at our villages, that's really the way that they're set up, and our school districts are so important to be able to help move that along.
Anything further?
I do have a question.
Dr. Pack?
Thank you for that explanation. You did trigger a thought. You had mentioned the Halo full build out will be 25 years from now. The 62,000 jobs, is there any projection on that breakdown? Might be 62,000 in 25 years, but do we know, can we predict or make a good estimate on how many jobs every 5 or 10 years?
Vice President Pack, as we look at that, so the developers of Halo Vista believe they're going to have a build out in about 10 years, meaning all the jobs will be there in 10 years. I'm a girl who likes to under-promise and over-deliver. And so when you kind of look at that, our model, all of the economic impact models really show 80,000 jobs, not 62. But again, we know where artificial intelligence is going. We know where robotics are going. So we've really tried to account for that. I think you could really expect within the first 10 years, within the first 10 years, you would probably see about 40,000 of those jobs. I think you're going to see a much quicker build out in the beginning, where those suppliers that haven't come here yet, that we've got about 40 more suppliers that haven't come to the market yet that support TSMC and Intel and Microchip and ON Semiconductor and others. So we will be back in Taiwan and Japan and in the Netherlands and Germany in early 2026. One of my colleagues is here with me from the Greater Phoenix Economic Council, and he and I and a contingent will be going back into those countries to get that next group of, so I would say about 40,000 of them will be within the first 10 years, and then I think the second 15 years they'll kind of string out a little bit. The reason I say that is some of the restaurants and retail will wait for the development to happen, and a restaurant might have 100 jobs within it, but those base industry jobs, those knowledge economy jobs, I think those first 40 you're really going to see in the first 10 years.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Did you have something? Okay, yeah, I want to point out to the community that you spoke briefly about Amcor. It's a $7 billion investment out there on the corner of 303 and Lake Pleasant Parkway. You mentioned it's in the city of Peoria, but I want the community to understand that it's in the Deer Valley School District. Yes. So their addition to our community, as we spoke, will help reduce the tax burden on everybody in the Deer Valley community. And it's important to note that when these large companies come, besides lowering the tax burden on everybody for the Deer Valley portion, they give us an opportunity to build bridges with them to accomplish things in the district on one-offs, whatever that may look like, whether it's something simple as a food drive or something a little bit more elaborate as a CTE program designed specifically for semiconductor work. And could you clarify, I know we didn't talk about this development, but we have talked about in this room the originally planned on 19,000 homes south of Halo Vista in an area referred to as North Park, which is now 15,000 homes. But I didn't know if you wanted to add anything to the conversation to make sure that everybody understands the homes that we're talking about coming that will support these 62,000 jobs and everything else associated with it. That is not part of this discussion. That's a whole separate animal and will be talked about obviously at a later date. But would you have anything to add to that?
President Carver, absolutely, and thank you for the opportunity. So what we're talking about today is bounded by 303 to the north to the 74 and I-17 to just to the west of Dead Man's Wash. So it's all north of the 303. When we look at I still call it Biscuit Flat South. So I love our Pony Express outstation stories, so I have to kind of stay with that. But North Park, as it's now known, that is not part of this conversation at all today. That is moving through the zoning process. They are having their community meetings. They're visiting with the villages. They'll be before the Planning Commission and the Phoenix City Council. So there's a very extensive community process that is taking place that will conclude sometime in the first quarter of 2026. That is not part of this conversation. So those 15,000 homes will be homes that will support those jobs that are not only at Halo Vista, but the Mac Innovation Park and Opus 30 and the innovation around Deer Valley and for our firefighters and our police officers and our school teachers and others. That is, everyone can't help but love the beautiful views that are up here. I have to admit, I'm a little jealous and am getting a little Deer Valley envy going myself right now when I get to see all the beautiful scenery. But no, this is not part of this conversation. And I think the other thing that's important to note is how many of these jobs that are coming into the market are U.S. jobs. They are jobs that are being, American citizens are being hired for. I get that conversation a lot of, people are just bringing in people from other countries to work on the jobs. I always it seems to work well when I explain it to our community members this way. Think about this: if I own a Starbucks and I bought a Starbucks because I love a caramel macchiato, but I don't know how to make a caramel macchiato. So Starbucks sends a team to me to teach me how to make that caramel macchiato. They teach me how to operate the books. They teach me how to do the marketing. They teach me how to run the store. And as soon as I learn it, they leave, because now I have a workforce that can run that's here. And these companies that are coming in, whether they're from Germany, whether they're from the Netherlands, whether they're from France, whether they're from Asia or Canada or Mexico, they're doing the same thing. They bring a small contingent to be able to be here to train our American workforce on how to operate these technologies that we've not had in our country before, and then they leave. And that's a question I get quite a lot. And I think for our citizens, it's important to know.
Thank you, ma'am. I've just got one more thing, Dr. Finch. For the community, the information that you saw tonight about Halo Vista was probably pretty awesome. You're wondering, how can you know about it before things actually happen and actually have a voice in it? You heard it mentioned that there are village planning committees. That particular area is known as the North Gateway Village Planning Committee. They meet every month, and when these projects come up, that committee listens to community input. They have back and forth conversations and give their input to the city as what it is that they would like to see happen as far as traffic flows and colors and heights and just every kind of goofy thing you can think about a development. They discuss in those village planning committees. So if you want to see how it works, if you want to peek behind the curtain, if you want to have a voice in how this part of the community is developed, I would encourage you to show up to those meetings. If you can't find it on the city website, feel free to send me an email, my district email. I can point you in the right direction. Dr. Finch.
I wanted to thank Chris for coming and keeping me in the loop. We meet virtually and in person over the years. And she's a great advocate for Deer Valley and what we stand for here. And she also brought the folks from AMCOR. They're sitting in the back corner over there. Wave to crowd. They wanted to do an interpretive dance of how this plastic melts to the chip, and I'm like, that's totally unnecessary. You don't have to do that. But maybe next time in 2 weeks. So if you have any questions about AMCOR or what the foreign trade zone is, and that's really another thing that Chris kind of added on her presentation. If you want to know more, we have a couple weeks now to do a little homework. So let me know before we bring that to you for action at the next board meeting.
Anything else before we move on? Seeing nothing. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your time.
President Carver,
And
board
thank our
members,
guests
thank
for
you.
coming. Yes, ma'am. Appreciate
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Next up is item 3B, PLCs at work. I believe Dr. DiMarteau.
Good evening, President Carver, Vice President Pack, board members, Dr. Finch. We're very pleased to be here tonight to talk to you a little bit about our PLC journey. We've shared a lot over the years with you, and it's just kind of time for another run through. We're also really happy to have with us tonight Deputy Superintendent for School Improvement from the Department of Arizona Education, and that is Natasha Camp. So please welcome her. Okay. Waiting for our slides, but when they come up, we're gonna bring you through the journey of PLCs in Deer Valley. We're gonna do a little bit of timelines of the work that we've been doing for the last, I think it's been about 7 or 8 years now. Then we're gonna look at some data, and we're gonna talk about our partnership with Project Momentum and the Department of Education. They're working on it. Please hold.
Tasha, why don't you give the group just a quick intro as far as your role and your previous experience with Project Momentum as well, okay? While
Sure.
they're transitioning to the slides.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me tonight, Mr. President, governing board members, Dr. Finch, and the community, as well as your leadership here at Deer Valley. Like was said, I'm Natasha Camp. I'm the Deputy Associate Superintendent for School Improvement with the Arizona Department of Education. I have had lots of experience with Project Momentum. I oversee that now at the Arizona Department of Education, but in my previous life, I was an assistant superintendent in the Liberty Elementary School District, and we were a Project Momentum school district. So I have lived it within a school district, as well as now really working with lots of districts within the state of Arizona to implement our Project Momentum Arizona framework, and Deer Valley is really leading the charge with that. So I'm happy to highlight after the presentation tonight all of the wonderful things that Deer Valley is doing to support us in the state of Arizona.
Thank you, Tasha.
Thank you. Okay, so, it has been 10 years. So we started our journey in 2015. I have a timeline here. I'm not going to highlight everything, but there's some really important work that has been happening over the last 10 years in Deer Valley. So I do want to make sure we're all kind of on the same page of where we started and what brought us to where we're at today. So we started with the why in 2015. We established a district PLC steering team to really look at what we would need to do to have PLCs implemented throughout our district. And at that point, we agreed that we needed to develop district-wide agreed-upon essential standards. That's a big piece of work if you've ever been involved in it. In 2018 and 19, we introduced the model of PLC teacher leaders. So all of our schools have model PLC teacher leaders. The point of that program is to build capacity within the schools. So we have experts who are teachers who are the ones doing the work within each of our schools. This is the same year that Constitution was our first school that was named a model PLC school in Deer Valley, and the very important decision by our governing board to have early release days that really cemented our commitment to PLCs. That has been a big part of us being able to do the work by giving us the time for our teachers to work on our collaborative teams. It's also the year that we began working with Project Momentum. So we started with 3 schools. We had Goldwater, O'Connor, and Desert Mountain, and some of that work that comes with Project Momentum is release time. And so they were given release time for the first time, paid release time, to start to look at the work of PLCs and to unwrap standards. In 2019 through 21, we increased that summer release time with 4 additional schools that we added. And during that time, we also became a model PLC district in May of 2021. We also started working on MTSSB, which is our behavior solutions framework that came to us in 2021. And then the following year, Mountain Shadows was named a model PLC school. During this time, part of our processes that we added is we ensured that all of our schools, every single campus, included time in their instructional days for all 3 tiers of instruction. So tier 1 is what you teach everybody, tier 2 is intervention for the 20% of kids who don't get it, and tier 3 is for the 5% who still need an extra layer of support. We hosted our first annual DVUSD PLC Summit in May of 2022. We had 800 teachers attend. We were able to pay them, and Anthem was also named a PLC school. Moving on to 22-23, at this time we had 11 total Project Momentum schools who were supported by this model. We hosted our second annual PLC Summit with 1,000 participants. We had 50 presenters, and these presenters are our own staff and teachers in our district, because now they have the capacity, they know what they're doing, and they were excited to share with their peers. We started this year assisting other districts in the state. We started with Alhambra. We helped them with onboarding the PLC process through Project Momentum. We met fairly regularly with them. And then in 23 and 24, the Department of Education attended our PLC showcase. So after all of our summer planning that we do, our Project Momentum schools come together and they share the work that they've been doing throughout the year and over the summer. They bring teacher experts and they share with each other. It's another opportunity to steal from one another the best practices that we have in our district. The State Department was so impressed with our framework that we are using for improvement, our PLC process framework, that they adopted our model for improvement as the state model for school improvement. We also created our own DVUSD MTSS playbook this year, which we have improved over the last 2 years. Amy Moore, who's our PLC manager, is going to talk to you about that in a few minutes. She also gave you a copy at your desk. We created an MTSSB district team, and we have a data dashboard where we monitor our progress. And we started, we had several other districts begin reaching out to us, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and even districts from other countries. I'll talk to you about that in a little bit too. That year, we presented to the Arizona Department of Education. That is when they began a statewide model of Project Momentum, which was in connection with the Arizona Department of Education. So Amy Moore and myself, we presented to the mentor principals on how to begin building capacity within districts with PLCs. Union Park was named a model PLC school, and we hosted our 3rd annual PLC Summit. This is the year that we created our District Guiding Coalition, which is a group of district and school leaders who really guide the work of PLCs in Deer Valley. Last year, we created a focus on results comprehensive data spreadsheet for every school that really guides the work that we do for our goal setting. We narrowed our essential standards. We created our own critical component survey to measure the work at our schools and our school teams in the PLC process. Legend Springs was named a promising practices PLC school, and we continued the work with our District Guiding Coalition. This year, we created common essential standard assessments for ELA for grades 6, 8, and 3, 5. And Goldwater was recently named a model PLC school. They are the first model PLC high school in Arizona. Really, really important work. We also are we are creating our own DVUSD guided tour for PLC work that we are going to implement in January. So that's just kind of a big overview. Project Momentum is a big part of our work. As I mentioned, it started in 2018 with 3 schools. We now have 13 schools. The benefits of our partnership, it's really, it's a lot, but it includes the dedicated planning time, the time and pay for teachers to do the work that they do anyway, but it's really more concentrated. And we also have partners who come in, principal partners who work with our principals at our schools to kind of coach and guide in our next steps. Amy Moore is going to talk to you a little bit about our MTSS playbook that we created.
Good evening, President Carver, governing board members, Dr. Finch. About 3 years ago, well, first of all, my name's Amy Moore, and my role in the district is I'm the Professional Learning Community Manager. About 3 years ago, as Dr. DeMorto showed earlier, we decided to really hone in on tiers of instruction within our classrooms. Tier 1, which is our core instruction with all of our students. Tier 2, that extra time and support that some students might need to master those grade level standards. And then also looking at our Tier 3 practices for students that need more of that intensive, foundational, and prerequisite skills. So we spend hours looking at research and finding what are the best practices within each tiers of instruction. And we narrowed and decided to come up with our own Deer Valley MTSS playbook. This would be all of our structures and foundations to really support all tiers of instruction. And that is what you have in front of you. We use this model as our content for professional learning. Our school leaders use this as content for their guiding coalitions and also helping just build skills within teachers at their schools. We also use this to help parents with communication of our structures of support in our district. So if you turn to page 2425, I'm going to reference, this is what we refer to as the DVUSD way, and it is one of our strategic areas of focus for this year. high levels of instructional strategies for engagement. We decided as a district we really want to hone in on and focus in on Tier 1, our core instruction. So again, we went out and researched what are the best instructional strategies for teaching in the classroom. We looked at lots of different ways of what are some of those high effect strategies, and we came up with 12. We kind of narrowed the focus. We vetted this through school leaders, through teachers, to find out what truly are the best instructional strategies. And then we came up with practices, actions that match each strategy. And we are using this to help guide our teaching in classrooms across the district. It's something very unified and something we can focus in on across all schools. This year, we're going to focus on the top 3 procedures and routines, clarity of learning targets, and vocabulary. And this will drive a lot of our professional learning through the school. Also, the MTSS playbook and our DVUSD way instructional strategies, that was the core of our PLC Summit sessions that we held in May. Teachers from all of our Project Momentum schools were invited to join our PLC Summit, where they got to choose sessions on all of those instructional practices, and then was followed by time to work collaboratively with their collaborative teams in helping to front load for the school year. This then culminated in what we refer to as the Project Momentum PLC Summer Showcase. It was held at Boulder Creek High School in July. It was attended by Project Momentum leaders from across the country, district leaders, our Project Momentum school principals, and then our teachers. And teachers were able to showcase all of their collaborative teamwork artifacts, as well as present student growth, their results. What resonated with me through this day was just the pride in the room. The teachers were just so proud of the work that they've accomplished as a team, and also highlighting the student growth. In fact, some of the Project Momentum leaders got up and they work with school districts across the United States, said that truly the work the teachers were doing just really was leading the way through the country.
Over the years, we've really unified and aligned our practices. We're actually just really tightly aligned to our strategic plan. We have an MTSS landing page where all of our schools link the work that they're doing so that they can all share this work with one another. Every one of our schools has a focus on results page, which is a place where they can house their goals and their action steps and the work that they're doing in MTSSA and MTSSB. All of our campuses set year-long goals that are aligned to our strategic plan. Dr. Smith creates this target card for them so that they know exactly what the target is for each of their individual schools. You know, we're all in a different place. All of our schools have different needs. And so we're all working on individual needs that are based on the students that are on our campus. And we're always looking for growth. And then each of our schools set quarterly goals to help that are a little bit smaller. So what am I going to do? It's only 9 weeks go by pretty quickly. So what am I going to do in the 9 weeks to move forward student learning? So a lot of those goals are focused on the DVUSD way that Amy was talking about, those instructional strategies. What are some baby steps that we can take and be more unified with? And then this is just a copy of our critical team components survey for that. How we measure the work with our PLC teams. Brittany Sutton, shout out to her. She's our principal at Boulder Creek. She created an incredible dashboard for us so you can see every team's answers and every school's answers. The purpose is really just to guide professional development. Who needs support? Are we moving forward? Are we continuing to keep the capacity within our teams? And then we wanted to share a little bit more about the districts that we've been working with in the state and throughout the nation and throughout the world.
So in Deer Valley, we really take great pride in our culture of collaboration. We truly work together within our district and within our schools, but we also take great pride in looking beyond our boundaries and how can we collaborate with other districts. This is one example, the North Valley Consortium. It is neighboring districts, and we meet throughout the year. Deer Valley has hosted this North Valley collaboration both last year, and we have another one coming up this month, hosting it at Deer Valley, also helping to facilitate sessions on instruction, assessment, curriculum, and collaborative teams. In addition to our neighboring districts, many districts from throughout Arizona have contacted us regularly just to find out, hey, what are you doing in Deer Valley to help build that professional learning community? And if you can see some of those bubbles, it also reaches beyond even the United States, and we have some international companies that are countries that have contacted us to come and visit and see our collaborative teams in action.
Yeah, I might highlight just one because it's so recent. Last week, we had Poland reach out to us. Their Department of Education reached out to us because they wanted to see a quality American school, and they requested to have 20 students, 2 teachers, and the vice president of the Polish Department of Education, dignitary Sir Richard Dietrich, visit Boulder Creek High School. So it's pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm. So due to these outreach of districts to Deer Valley, we decided to create a day that we are calling it the Power of We, and we're piloting it this year, and it's going to be on January 16th. It's both for internal school leaders and external districts where we can come together and learn and grow within a professional learning community. So the morning would be focused on conversations of how did Deer Valley start? What was our journey, and how did we get momentum within our becoming a professional learning community, and then also in tailoring it down to our high-functioning collaborative teams. What does it take to be a high-functioning team? Followed up in the afternoon by then some observations of collaborative teams in action, both at the high school and the elementary level.
Okay, so we've been focusing on learning. Dr. Z, I didn't ask you to, but if you wanted to speak to our balanced assessment system, do you want to?
Sure. Thank you, Paula. President Carver, members of the board, Dr. Finch. So certainly on this slide, the reason that Paula put this in there was from the influence that Project Momentum has had on us in a very positive way with our assessment system. If you think about the education system, and we sometimes use the visual of the three-legged stool, and so you have curriculum, instruction, and assessment being a key piece to that, having a balanced system ranging from something that would be as high as the summative part, so that's the end of the year assessment that we take for the state, and then going all the way to the other side, which would be perhaps your daily classroom exit tickets, and then everything in between, and making sure that all of the arrows are going in the same direction from across all 42 schools with that system. That is something, again, that Project Momentum has helped us since 2018 continually design and refine this particular process for our schools, and it has helped yield those results that you have seen in the previous 2 board reports for our academic achievement.
So the work that our teams do on Fridays, I mean, it's really very intentional and it's deep. So part of what they do is they plan out common standards, what they're going to teach daily, and then what instructional practices they're going to use. But then they also look at the data to see how the students are doing, so they know how to intervene if the students don't meet the goal, or how to enrich if the students already know the goal. So this is just a data sheet just to kind of show you the depth of work that's happening on Fridays. If it was all filled in, you would see all the different teachers. We have teachers who teach 6th grade math, for example, and they might be the only teacher on their campus teaching it. They get together with other teachers who teach 6th grade math at like 3 or 4 other schools, and they collaborate together so that they can talk about the same content and what students are learning and the best ways to teach them. And so they use this form to kind of look at their data and make decisions about next steps for kids. So Dr. Z mentioned some of the results that were shared earlier, so I won't go in great depth over them, but I do want to remind all of us that really in the end it is about student learning. That is why we're doing all of this really in-depth work. And so just basically you can see the DIBELS data. Dr. Galligan showed us that we are above the national average. This is just the beginning of year scores where our students start. Our state data for our 3-8 students, now the test changes, right? So we've had a different test for the last few years than we had, say, 10 years ago. So we're always looking at growth. So we look at where we are above the state average, we look at where we are year to year, and we're always looking for growth. So you can see we're 19% above the state average, or maybe, 18% in math and 18% in ELA. We also measure our MTSSB data, so you see that it is steadily going up, how our students' sense of belonging, our students' self-efficacy, AZ Science, we've really always been so far ahead the state in science. You can see there those scores from 5th grade, from 8th grade, and then the high school, I think we're at like 26% above the state average in high school. Or is it 39, 29, 39? Yeah, 26%. I mean, just kind of crushing it. What I really wanted to pause on was our ACT scores, because this is almost towards the end. And our composite score, you can see we went from 19.5 to 20.3. And we say that it's a big deal to raise a composite score by 0.1. So I just wanted to pause a minute to explain that to you. The composite score is combined of all of those subcategories that you see up there: math, science, STEM, English, reading, writing, ELA. So if you're going to raise the composite score by 0.1%, that means that you basically, your next group of juniors have to maintain the same composite score from the group from the year before, plus 10% of them have to raise their ACT score by 1. So with the number of juniors that we have in our district, that's about 275 students who have to raise their ACT score by 1, with everybody else maintaining about the same ACT composite score from the previous class. That's just to raise it 1/10 of a point. And our students raised it 0.8, so 8/10. So there's different combos. I mean, I think that student from the awards program probably helped us out quite a bit. He's very, very smart. There are quite a few of them up there, but it's a big deal. And ultimately, when our kids get to this is right before graduation, this is where the culmination that we see, the culmination of all of the learning over the years. There's just one more way to look at it that we didn't look at it before. Where Arizona is on their average composite score, where DVUSD is, and then that we're even above the national average. I think that is something really, really to be proud of. And I'll just
jump in there too
I know
again.
you're going to jump in.
Yep. I'll repeat, President Carver, members of the board, Dr. Finch, I do want to repeat what I communicated the last time we met, because this really is a big deal when you compare to the U.S. average. And so, first of all, I'm going to say kudos to Paula and Gail, Amy, the staff, and the staff of the high schools and the admin at the high schools for this. But remember, when you're looking at that bar graph for the U.S. side, you're looking at a very select group of students that are being represented in that particular chart. So you're looking at a college-bound subpopulation of the total U.S. High school population for that. There's only a handful of states that use the ACT as their accountability exam. And even of those 13 states that use that as the accountability exam, there is some variation even within those states as far as what they're requiring for that, as they may have other options. So it really is a celebration again to Paula, Amy, Gail, all of the folks along with our high school teachers, support staff, and admin for the achievement that they have been yielding over the past few years.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go quickly through these highlights. You've seen them before, but again, our AP numbers are our percentage rate 81%, with the national rate being 60%. Our advanced placement, we talked last time about how that AP Scholar with distinction is, its students, is it receiving a 3 or higher on 5 or more exams? Yes. Okay. And then our graduation rate, right, like what it's all about, is the highest that we have seen possibly in our history. I mean, it is very high. With some of our schools even at 99.1%. And if you look at compared to the state average, you can see an upward trend. We celebrated Goldwater being a model PLC at work school, which we're very proud of. And ultimately, it's that we're graduating our students to be prepared, right, to be college, career, and life ready. So we're very proud of the work that our teachers do, that our school leaders do, that we do as a district. We feel that the PLC work really does help to propel us further. So we're going to end with Natasha, just to give some highlights of our partnership with Project Momentum and the Department of Education.
Thank you. That's really hard to follow because you all are doing such fantastic work here in the Deer Valley Unified School District. I'll just say there is a uniqueness to your district from kindergarten through 12th grade. And if you're not aware of it, I'm just going to point that out to you a little bit today. The collaborative teams really are the engine that produce momentum for student success. And so your teachers and your leadership within the department here that's sitting with me, whether that's your special ed or your general ed, they're coming together and they're bringing your teachers together to do the very, very, very hard work. And I commend you for that. It is unique. It is not happening everywhere. And you are producing the results from that work. And so I'm going to highlight just a couple of things. Deer Valley has been a part of Project Momentum since 2018, which you saw in the presentation. They were also our very first pilot of Project Momentum Arizona framework at the high school level. It is also unique that your high schools are participating in the collaborative teamwork. It is a little more difficult at the high school level because you're looking for teachers to have similar content and also subject area. And you are doing fantastic work at the high school level. Deer Valley has contributed to the success of Project Momentum in many ways, and I'm just going to touch on a few tonight. We have modified our Project Momentum playbook from the district expectations in Deer Valley Unified School District. We have taken the 30, 60, and 90-day plans that Deer Valley used, and we have modeled those to create our school quarterly implementation goals and our district quarterly implementation goals off of that best practice in our state model of school improvement across the state of Arizona. Some of the district office systems and structures that Deer Valley has in place are used as models for other districts to emulate and support the full implementation of Project Momentum Arizona. We have attended your summer showcases that really showcase the elementary and the high school achievement, as well as artifacts that collaborative teams are producing, and then the results that they are getting from them. We intentionally bring leaders throughout the state to see your showcases in the summer. We're hoping that it's contagious and that the momentum that you're experiencing is also contagious to other school districts, especially when when they see the results and the fruits of your labor. As you can see, we've partnered heavily in the processes, procedures, and implementation strategies developed by Deer Valley, recognizing you as a leading district in Arizona. Deer Valley's commitment and leadership continue to set the standard for excellence and collaboration in education statewide. We are grateful for Deer Valley's partnership and ongoing contributions, which continue to inspire and guide our collective efforts to improve outcomes for all students. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the Dr. Pack?
I just had a question. Thank you for all that. That was very thorough. I just had a quick question for Dr. Z. You had mentioned that only 13 states use the ACT data, which makes it unique. Do you know what the other 37 states use for the population data that you referenced?
President Carver, Dr. Pack, that answer is going to vary depending on the state. So some states have their own exam. Arizona used to do that. So we used to have our own exam as well for that. So in New York, you'll have the region exam, and that's more of a well-known one that they have. So it depends on the state as far as how they do that. So there's no singular answer for that.
Thank you.
Dr. Z, just to follow up on that one. So 13 states require it, like we do, but the other 37 take it, but it's more for the higher level students. That was the point you're getting at. All 50 states participate in the ACT, but 37 of them, it's more the students that have the expectation of attaining a certain college are taking the ACT, and the other 13 states, everybody's taking it.
Yes, President Carver, more or less that is the idea. So I would probably rephrase it just a bit and say students in all 50 states have the opportunity to take the ACT if they so choose. There is a subset of states that use it for their accountability exam for public education. And so Arizona is one of those states. So in the other 37 states, those students who are taking it are likely students who are going to college because it's one of the entrance exams, right, that they would have. Whereas students who may not believe that that is their path, they would be less likely to take that exam.
Thank you, sir. Any further questions for Dr. Zerbach? No? Dr. Finch?
I just want to thank the team as well and working with the Department of Ed. We had to make a decision 8 years ago, when it really started to build momentum. And that started with the relationship with Governor Ducey, and it's now morphed over time. But I want to say publicly, thanks to the staff of Deer Valley. That's when you see these scores, that doesn't happen by accident. It's a commitment to excellence, and everyone's rowing the boat in the same direction. And the board had a lot to do with that. We adopted our strategic plan, which was designed by the community and by staff and students. That all shaped where we're going to go. The board gave us the thumbs up, and we developed the machine that supported that. So I just wanted to say thanks to all the Deer Valley staff that helped bring all this fruit to fruition. It's pretty amazing, and it's a testament to the teamwork that we have out there.
I would just like to follow up and share with the board and the community that the PLC thing isn't a big secret. It's nothing that you can't know about. It's nothing that you can't personally experience. I've taken time during PLC Fridays and actually gone out to specifically Barry Goldwater. I've made a few campuses, but in Barry Goldwater, I actually sat in the PLC meetings with the different departments as the different teachers that had English or had math got together to try to identify commonalities and strategies to overcome challenges that they had. And it's really a beautiful thing. And I've seen it in my business background, work groups and work teams to try to accomplish a common goal. And that is exactly what this is. We've just brought it to education. And now we have teachers that are teaching the same subject, that are encountering the same challenges, getting together in brainstorming sessions, identifying commonalities, and then developing processes by which to address those so that every child has an opportunity for success. So my point in that is just that if you want to see how it works firsthand, just get a hold of the administration and find out where the next latest and greatest meeting is going to go be, and sit in the back room and watch. It's an awesome experience. Thank you, Dr. DeMarteau and Dr. Zerbach. Anything else from the team? No? Okay. We'll move on to item 3C, Pathways to Success. Dr. Galligan.
Good heavens, we're getting organized here. President Carver, members of the board, Dr. Finch. Career and technical education shines bright in our district. It provides pathways and opportunities for our students to enter the workforce or college stronger than they would have without that opportunity. Tonight, Juliet Amara and I will present some information about our career and technical education and the wonderful opportunities, as Mr. Carver is aware, as he was part of our CTE programming when he was in our district. The purpose of this presentation is to highlight how career and technical education in Deer Valley aligns with our district mission. It provides opportunities for our children, and it prepares them for college, career, and life. What you'll see here in our agenda looks at just an introduction of what CTE is, talks a little bit about our work-based learning opportunities for children, academic integration, and we'll broaden that, and then just some outcomes, impact, and then the innovation that's available to our students and our teachers who are part of it.
CTE, CTE in Deer Valley brings our mission to life by consistently providing extraordinary opportunities that prepare students to lead, compete, and positively impact our world. Aligned with our portrait of a graduate, CTE develops effective communicators, problem solvers, and community contributors ready for college, career, and for life. DVUSD proudly offers 52 unique career and technical education pathway opportunities across our 6 high schools. Each of these programs is designed to prepare students for college and career and life success by providing hands-on, industry-relevant learning experiences. The DVUSD total number represents all of our students participating in career and technical education programs across our 6 high schools. The WestMech total includes students who travel to one of our WestMech satellite campuses for advanced, industry-aligned training. And finally, the Career Explorations total reflects participation in our middle schools program. That's Careers 1 and 2 and Career Action Labs, which introduce students to CTE pathways and helps them explore future career options early. This number represents the total number of students actively engaged in CTE learning across Deer Valley. From middle school to high school, that's 8,587 students exploring, developing, and applying real-world skills through our CTE programs. Offering the most CTE programs in DVUSD, Sandra Day O'Connor High School students provides 14 dynamic pathways that equip students with real-world skills and have earned national recognition in business and finance competitions. Accounting teacher Tiffany Kurtz's state-level recognition for top TSA scores highlights a culture of excellence at Sandra Day O'Connor, where students earn industry certification, gain real-world experience, and achieve national honors in FBLA and FCCLA. Sandra Day O'Connor students gain powerful real-world experience across a wide range of CTE programs, mastering practical skills in fields like sports medicine, early childhood education, film and TV production that prepare them to thrive in their future careers. With 9 CTE programs and one of the largest DECA chapters in Arizona, Mountain Ridge students and staff are earning international, national recognition and leading the way in innovation and in excellence. We are proud of our outstanding educators like Bioscience Teacher of the Year, Kim Rogers, who is actually being recognized in Maricopa County Superintendent Video this week for Bioscience Week. In addition, Mountain Ridge students continue to make their mark by earning Flynn Scholars Honors, National FBLA recognition, Skills USA State Championships, and DECA Leadership distinctions, which in turn showcases the strength and breadth of Ridge's CTE programs. Deer Valley students are gaining real-world skills and making an impact, earning CNA certifications, leading nationally recognized Air Force JROTC service, creating innovative hospitality experiences, and interning at top organizations like Honeywell and the Mayo Clinic. Deer Valley High School CTE programs blend rigorous clinical training, industry partnerships, and leadership development, empowering students to achieve certifications, internships, and national recognition through Air Force JROTC. Boulder Creek stands out for both student and teacher excellence, earning the highest TSA achievement in the district and celebrating educators like Thomas Clark, one of our 4 Boulder Creek teachers recognized by ASU's Impacts Corp since 2023.
You want to say what the TSA is?
The TSA is our technical skills assessment that all of our students take to show their mastery of the learning standards in each of their courses. Boulder Creek CTE programs shine through student success in national competition, industry recognitions, and finance challenges, alongside educators recognized for their exceptional impact on student pathways. And Barry Goldwater, with 104 students earning OSHA 10 certification, Deer Valley's signature programs in culinary arts, construction, and law and public safety, and the highly anticipated reopening of our Avenue 27 on October 23rd, Barry Goldwater is a hub for hands-on, career-focused learning. Here, we highlight some of the outstanding hands-on programs at Barry Goldwater High School. We have our Avenue 27, which is our learning classroom, our living classroom. And as you see here, our construction students in our construction and advanced construction classes are getting hands-on experiences through our partnerships with the Arizona Masonry Council. Excuse me. And finally, Aspire is boasting 114 students enrolled in their online courses and stands out as one of Maricopa County's only Rio CTE dual enrollment program, blending flexibility, college credit opportunities, and career-focused skills in marketing, accounting, and software design.
Our career and technical education programs are deeply connected with post-secondary readiness. Academic integration ensures that our students are not just meeting standards, but applying them in authentic, real-world contexts that prepare them for college, technical training, and the workforce. By completing college credit, real-world skills, and direct career pathways, CTE dual enrollment courses empower our students to launch their futures while still in high school. Our dual enrollment program spans 27 CTE courses offered across all high schools and Aspire Online. That's 27, that's a lot. Empowering our students to earn college credits and gain industry-aligned skills in fields like marketing, law enforcement, nursing, software development, education, accounting, and sports medicine. In 2025, Deer Valley students earned 81 college credits through CTE dual course pathways, giving them a strong start on their post-secondary goals. And as you've come to see when I'm up here talking with you, our report would not be complete without some achievement data. What you'll see here is we believe this data tells a powerful story of our CTE concentrators. And concentrators, you can see in the tiny font there, are students completing 2 or more courses in a program. They graduate at nearly 98%, earn industry credentials at rates 14 points higher than the state, and outperform their peers by over 20 points on that technical skills assessment, or TSA. We're really proud of those numbers there. With our CTE students outperforming the state by double digits in math, English language arts, and science, we're proud to celebrate the incredible work that they do, the dedication of their teachers who support them, and the impact that CTE has on their futures.
Our CTE programs thrive because of the strong partnerships we've built with our local and regional industry leaders. These collaborations ensure our curriculum stays relevant, our students gain access to real-world experiences, and our teachers have ongoing industry input to guide instruction. Industry partnerships make learning real and relevant. By collaborating with these businesses and community organizations, our CTE education programs give students hands-on experience, career exposure, and a professional networks that extend beyond the classroom. These partnerships build a strong talent pipeline for Arizona workforce and ensure students are prepared to excel in college, careers, and in life. Partnerships with top organizations across construction, healthcare, higher education, hospitality, and technology provide our students with authentic learning experiences, access to industry expertise, and direct pathways to college and high-demand careers. In DVUSD, career exploration begins early. Our middle school students have the opportunities to explore their interests, strengths, and possible career pathways through hands-on activities, guest speakers, and CTE-based career labs. By introducing students to real-world careers before high school, we help them make informed choices about future CTE pathways and post-secondary opportunities. Programs like Career Explorations 1 and 2, along with Career Action Labs, allow students to experience anything from healthcare and engineering to marketing and digital media. Our effort in early career exploration programming empowers 7th and 8th grade students across participating middle schools to discover their interests, gain foundational skills, and prepare for future success through our high school CTE opportunities. Paxton Patterson Labs have been empowering middle school students for more than 10 years at Deer Valley, Desert Sky, and Hillcrest Middle Schools, giving them a dynamic, hands-on introduction to real-world careers and helping them connect classroom learning with future pathways in STEM, healthcare, law, and much more. Early CTE, along with STEM opportunities, allows our elementary and middle school students to see how classroom learning connects to future careers. With ambassador visits, robotics competitions, computer science days, and strong community partnerships, DVUSD is creating pathways for K through 8 into high school CTE programs. We are especially grateful to the Deer Valley Educational Foundation for their $50,000 STEM Career Exploration Grant, which makes these opportunities possible. And for the past 6 to 8 years, the annual High School Career Expo has been a cornerstone event, bringing together students, families, and CTE programs to explore hands-on CTE pathways and future high school opportunities. This year, we will host the expo on Monday, October 20th, beginning at 5 p.m. next door at the Innovation Center. We have noticed over the years that the Career Expo connects our elementary and middle school students and families to future high school opportunities by inspiring early career exploration, sparking hands-on learning, and building confidence in the pathways that lead to college, career, and lifelong success. As we look ahead, DVUSD CTE continues to innovate and evolve to meet the demands of a changing workforce. Our focus is on expanding opportunities that prepare students for high-wage, high-demand careers through cutting-edge programs and partnerships. By combining CTE ambassador-led sessions, live demos, and mobile CTE labs, the Pathways to Possibilities project will expand career exploration for our K through 8th grade students, equipping them with essential skills and strengthening the bridge to high school and future career paths. The esports program, this program was also done with an innovative grant with our partners at WestMech. Esports represents one of the fastest growing sectors in technology, media, and entertainment, and within DVUSD, it serves as a powerful and innovative CTE pathway. Beyond gaming, students engage in real-world applications of STEM, marketing, business management, digital communication. Through esports, students develop valuable skills in project management, broadcasting, entrepreneurship, and IT systems, preparing them for a wide range of careers, including game design, software development, digital marketing, event production, and network security. By introducing an early entry point for 9th graders, Barry Goldwater High School's construction pathway expansion provides students with hands-on skills, credential opportunities, and a clear route from foundational learning to high-demand careers in Arizona's growing trades sector. And our Introduction to Health Science course integrates Paxton Patterson Labs to provide students with realistic hands-on experiences, career exploration opportunities, and collaborative learning, building a strong foundation for success in high-demand healthcare pathways. And lastly, as an early adopter of the AP Career Kickstart program, DVUSD and O'Connor are leading the way in Arizona by aligning rigorous AP coursework with industry-recognized CompTIA certifications. This innovative initiative creates powerful pathways for students to earn college credit and technical credentials, advancing the district's mission to prepare students for college and career and community success. DVUSD's career technical education programs are shaping the future of our students and our community. With over 8,500 students engaged in CTE pathways, we are ensuring that every learner graduates for college and career and life. Through innovative programs, strong academic integration, and partnerships with local industry and higher education, we are bridging the gap between classroom learning and real-world success. Our goal is simple: to empower students with purpose, skills, and confidence to lead in tomorrow's workforce. And together, we are creating pathways that truly prepare every student for success. Thank you.
Thank you. We can take any questions you may have.
Questions or comments from the board?
I had a quick question.
Dr. Pack.
I'd heard two numbers, 370, or I saw two numbers, 371 students attending Westmec, and then it was just mentioned 8,500 CTE students. Does that 8,500 students include the 371 students, or is that two different numbers?
No, it encompasses the total enrollment of everyone. So it encompasses the Westmec enrollment as well.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say, wow. Okay, so 52 CTE courses in our district. And I encountered somebody in the community the other day that had toured one of our sister districts, and they were shocked and amazed and really happy that this particular district offered about a dozen CTE courses and wanted to know why we couldn't do something as amazing as that. I guess my point behind making that statement is there's a lot of things that the community doesn't seem to be aware of, and not for lack of the district trying. And I bring this to everybody's attention, and for those of you watching at home, because these files are in the agenda and anybody can view them at any time. And I would encourage folks that even if you don't want to try to digest or share an entire file, there are certain bits and pieces that are really worth noting for the community out there, with just absolutely how amazing our district is. That's not to say that we're not without places that we can do better. Everybody and everything on God's green earth is. But we are head and shoulders above our sister districts. Sometimes I feel bad for saying that because I know a lot of these people personally that are on the boards, but the administration and the teachers in our district are absolutely amazing. And these kind of numbers and the kind of successes that our kids are having can all be attributed to, one, the investment that the community has made in years past in our district, and two, for the execution of folks like yourself. And I just want to thank you for the time and the presentation that you've given, and encourage you to keep up the amazing work. Thank you. Anything else from the board? Okay. Next up, item 3D, Fiscal and Business Services Report. Ms. Mock.
President Carver, members of the board, Dr. Finch, and guests. I feel it's very unfortunate to have to follow those three presentations, and I don't know how we arranged this on the agenda, but I would just like to say it's not fair. I'm going to talk first about, we're not quite to our annual financial report yet. We're just going to talk about our reports for the month end of September, one of those being our M&O budget report. We are trending exactly where we think we would be at this time of year. To beef up the report following those other three fantastic reports, I thought I would add that to date, about 78.5% of what we've spent so far has been salaries and benefits. Typically, by the time we finish the year, that'll be about 85%. The only reason it trends down a little bit at this time of year is because we have some prepayments for insurance. The second item on the list at 8% is actually our property and liability insurance. We've not yet made the prepayment for our health insurance, making sure that we have enough cash in the bank at the treasurer's office before we do that. Coming in third would be our utilities. Coming in third would be our schools have spent the most, followed by utilities. So those are top categories are our salaries and benefits, our utilities, our school budgets. And then with those prepayments, as we start to see some of the other salaries and budgets spent throughout the year, we'll see those salaries increase to the 80s and above. We are not projecting any carry forward at this time for fiscal year 26. But with that, I will take any questions specific to the fiscal year 26 M&O budget report ending for September.
Any questions or comments from the board on this particular issue, topic? No? Thank you, Ms. Mock.
And as well, we do have the the student activities report and the auxiliary reports attached as well for your review.
Thank you very much. Anything else for us tonight?
Not at this time, but I will be back.
All right, appreciate you. Moving on to item 4A. Dr. Pack.
I move that the board vote to give direction to the designated voting representative, Dr. Karen Pack, me, ASBA delegate, to vote in the manner the board has approved.
Is there a second? Okay, so this, just to refresh the board's memory, is the packet of information that we discussed for the proposed bylaw changes in the Arizona School Board Association. We are giving direction to Dr. Pack tonight on whether or not we support or do not support. I'm not aware of any changes or concerns that were brought to the administration's attention during the last 2 weeks. So at this time, unless there's any further discussion, we will have a vote on whether or not to approve or not approve the proposed bylaw changes. There's been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. Next up on the agenda is item 5, Dr. Pack.
I move that the governing board approve consent agenda items 5A through 5I.
Is there a second?
Second.
Either one of these two will do.
Give it to Stephanie.
Okay. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ms. Mock forgot to mention one more thing. So, paths.
Unacceptable.
One more report that she skipped over.
Big one.
She was moving too fast.
I know. Trying to respect everybody's time this evening, but we do have a big report for this evening, and it is a requirement to have this report, and it is a little bit more fun than the M&O report for the month. And this is our bond and override report, our fiscal year 25 summary. So if we could get that presentation brought up. And I can start with that a little bit. We're going to talk just briefly about what bond funding is. It is voter-approved one-time funds for capital-type expenditures in the district. It can go toward leasing school lots, building or renovating school buildings, supplying school buildings with furniture, and there should be a different presentation attached for this one. But bonds can also improve school grounds and purchase vehicles and supplies for the district. The bond that we have right now was approved by voters in 2019, and we are about a little over 75% spent through the bond. The categories that we had for the bond were instruction-related needs. We can purchase technology, and we do a lot of our one-to-one device initiative with the bond funds. Pupil transportation, that part of the budget is, there we go, thanks Josh, is mostly complete now. We have very limited, Gary, I will take that remote now. Thank you. I'll get you caught up to where I am. Here we go. So this is just a breakdown of the categories that were approved when the bond was approved by voters in 2019. And pupil transportation, we have done completed our bus replacements. We still have a little bit of funding left for some technology on the buses. Facility and safety needs, building renewal, conservation, safety and security and equipment. You can see where we are in progress. We do a little bit of those projects every year. Those are managed by our facilities department. Student growth needs, one of the big things, big ticket items that was in that 2019 bond was the construction of Elementary 32, which is now better known as Inspiration Mountain. And we completed initial phase of the K through 6, added 7-8 within the last couple of years, and that project is now complete, and our student growth funds have been fully expended. We do have a little bit of leeway to add for administrative spending with the bond. The majority of the funds do have to be spent at the school level, but we had some in there for administrative technology and equipment. A lot of that goes for infrastructure, and on the slides later we'll see what we spent some of those projects on this year. Campus support vehicles are included in this as well, and some administrative building improvements. So some of what has been included in the 2019 bond that hadn't been included in the past are expenditures on the arts. Our curriculum instruction specialist, we actually, for arts and the co-curricular equipment, student athletics, we work with folks in curriculum instruction and administrative and leadership services to help purchase what the schools need as far as arts. A lot of those were various musical instruments at 21 schools last year. Co-curricular equipment, a lot of cool robotics went to schools from the bond last year as well. And for student athletics, we did uniforms and athletic equipment, some fencing and netting around athletic facilities. For technology, here's just a little bit of what our IS&T department helped us purchase. It was student technology upgrades with 220 iPads, 190 Chromebooks, Chromeboxes, and 4,000 Chromebooks going out this past year for our students. Some of those network upgrades we were talking about happened at 3 schools and Wi-Fi replacement at 2 schools. Video security and audio visual at the schools listed there. Some of those camera systems that were installed, part of those were paid for with the bond funds, but thanks to Dr. Zerbach and his staff and folks in IS&T, we were able to secure the COPS grant that paid for the remaining cost of those so that we did not have to use the bond for that, or do it entirely out of the bond. We had upgrades to teaching staff laptops. You can see there how many we replaced. Now moving into the projects that were facilitated by our facilities department. They had some performing arts projects, shade replacements, various security projects as well, rubberized surface on playgrounds. That is actually a safety and security issue as well. 12 intercom projects, and at least 29 schools had fire alarm projects. Energy conservation and safety. We really like these projects because it helps us reserve our maintenance and operation budget so that we can spend it on things like salary that we talked about just a little bit ago, but also building improvements such as restroom improvements and roofing that keep the classrooms dry during the storms like the ones we've had yesterday and over the past couple of weeks. Flooring, we had some ceramic tile replacement and gym coat resurfacing. One of the things that you might notice is missing from the list is painting. We also call that weatherproofing. And typically we would have weatherproofing during our summer projects. Typically every 7 years is the cycle that we try to maintain to keep the schools up and maintained. But since we have not been able to reauthorize the bond over the last couple years, the funds that we have available, we are using discreetly to make sure that we can handle all of the emergencies and make sure that we are keeping the students safe in the school and that the school buildings are functional. And so anything that we can stretch out for a year or two, we have been doing that. Coming to the, there we go. Coming to the end of some of our transportation funds, the only thing we purchased for transportation this year was 3 microbirds compared to what we've purchased in the past, where we had done some replacements of our white fleet and before that our buses. So now you can see, based on the entire category, how much we've spent overall. We actually spent this year 60% fewer bond funds than what we did last year. We spent just a little over $10 million this year, and part of that is from delaying the funds and not having a reauthorization. So we do have just a little over 26% left to spend over the next 4 years, and we'll take a look at the areas of greatest need to do that moving forward. This is just a different way to look at the budget to expense that we saw on that last screen. So you can see where most of the budgets are remaining: instruction-related needs and facility and safety needs. We do still have a little bit left in our administrative technology and equipment as well. And that completes the bond portion of the presentation. Now we're going to talk about the override. 2019, our voters also approved a 15% maintenance and operation override. And the way the override works is the state of Arizona tells every school district in the state exactly how much they can budget per student. It's actually very uniform and is one of the best parts about the state budgeting formula. But because it does not provide, at the level at which it's funded, it does not provide us enough funds necessarily or enough budget capacity to provide the level of education that we expect in Deer Valley, such as with some of the programs that we talked about earlier today already. And so the legislature has told the voters that if you would be willing to fund additional budget, you can approve that to happen. And so Deer Valley has actually had an M&O override in place since 2019, and our current override authorized in 2019 was at 15%. However, since it is voter-approved funds, they are not intact in perpetuity. The voters have to come back and reauthorize them at least every 5 years. And so one of the things you will see later in this presentation is that because we've been unable at this point to get that voter reauthorization, we'll talk about our plans for 2026 and what that looks like. But here's where we spent the funds in 24-25. This was our last year at our full 15%. It was $33.9 million additional budget capacity for Deer Valley Unified. So you can see the 8% of existing salaries in 2019 was a little over $17 million, and that maintaining the current class size we have for all grade levels K through 12 was about $8.3 million. An additional $6.5 million was maintaining that full day kindergarten, because when the legislature tells us how much we can budget for our students, they only provide half of that funding for kindergarten students. And so we've relied on this override to provide full free day kindergarten for all students in Deer Valley Unified School District. We had about $500,000 of the override for extracurricular activities, and an additional $500,000 for counselors and support services. 10% of district department budgets and school budgets are also attributable to the override. Now, typically in this presentation, we have done a comparison side by side of where we spent the override the year prior and where we would expect that to happen this year. Now, I was not a part of the budgeting process last year, but I will say the reason this looks different is because I do commend Dr. Finch and Mr. Migliorino before me and the board for making budget balancing measures in this first year of phase down that did not greatly impact the services on the override. And so even though our override, you can see at the top, was budgeted at $23 million, we actually didn't cut any of the services that we are providing through the override funding, and so we had to find alternative methods to continue to provide those services. And so some of those were done through the furlough day that's set to take place on January 5th. Cash reserves, which is a one-time option to use those cash reserve funds, but there was the increase to the athletic participation fee, the addition of the arts participation fee, such as band, elimination of some of the summer work that happens, and you might want to call it some right sizing of some of our other schools and alternative services that we had that had lower participation from our students and community. At the bottom there, the last thing we had was our OPEB cash fund. OPEB is also known as our other post-employee benefits, more commonly known as our retiree insurance. And that has been historically paid out of our M&O budget, and it was budgeted at $4.2 million. Over the past several years, we have been moving some of our, or basically prepaying some of that OPEB or retiree insurance from our M&O by moving it into a special enterprise fund from which we can also pay and only pay that retiree insurance. And so the decision was made to then pay the retiree insurance from that fund this year. So that was one of the budget balancing measures as well that gets us to the full $32.2 million of services that actually would have been coming out of the override this year had it still been funded at 15%. What that looks like next year, we'll have a better idea at our next meeting on November 18th, or well, not our next meeting on October 28th, but our meeting on November 18th. But this is where we plan to spend it this year. And again, I would just like to commend those who helped balance the budget last year without making significant cuts to those services. Now that will be an end of our finance reports this evening, and I appreciate your patience. I'll take any questions if you have them.
Any questions now for Ms. Mock?
I have a question.
Dr. Pack.
Ms. Mock, you were one of the slides on the bond. You had mentioned the roofing was repaired.
Mm-hmm.
When the roofing's repaired, are the walls, closets, where we've seen photos of books being damaged by water, were those walls and drywall fixed because of the water damage?
President Carver, Dr. Pack, I would have to ask facilities, and I can do that. A lot of the roofing isn't necessarily repaired or redone because it was leaking. It's part of that maintenance cycle that it was just time. A lot of our buildings do have flat roofs, so it's important to maintain those cycles. But I can find out specifically if at Anthem, which was the only school that had roofing this year, due to some stretching out some of those cycles, if they had any leaking. I can find that out for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mock. Item 6A, Dr. Pack.
There we go. I move that the governing board accept the addenda pre-approvals.
Second.
Any discussion on these items? Presentation? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. Item 6B.
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve the Arizona School Facilities Division Preventative Maintenance Plan Report for 2024-25.
Is there a second? Thank you. Ms. Mock, do you have a presentation for this?
President Carver, members of the board, Dr. Finch, we do not. This is very similar to one of the items we approved in September for the school facilities division. This is a required annual report, and it does require signature by the governing board president, which is one of the reasons that it is brought here. You can see on the report that the school facilities board recommends by preventative maintenance type of service, how many of those are done per school building, per category. And you can see how many we performed. As a reminder, this is not tied necessarily to any funding that we would receive from School Facilities Division, and historically, Deer Valley has not qualified for any School Facilities Division funding. And so we do have an amazing facilities team and preventative maintenance team that do as many of these tasks as possible, but some of the tasks are as simple as they would like us to go and check every outlet in every building in the district and make sure it works, and that's just not feasible. So we do tasks that we know provide value to us and complete as many as possible. I also believe that we have some vacancies on our preventative maintenance team, so if there's anyone out there who would like to come help with some of these projects, I think we have some helper vacancies as well. So shameless plug for employment in Deer Valley. But that could be a part of helping us maintain the schedule in the future. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Mock. Any questions for Ms. Mock on this item? Dr. Peck?
I have a question, more of a newbie question. The Division of School Facilities, what entity is that part of? A state entity? Who are we sending this to?
President Carver, Dr. Pack, I believe they're a part of the Department of Administration. I would have to double check that for sure, but there is a completely separate school facilities oversight board, and they have their own software that we upload this to, and they compile that and have it on an annual basis for all districts.
So community members could go somewhere and find that information?
President Carver, Dr. Pack, it is actually behind a login. We only get 2 logins per district, regardless of the size of your district. I don't know if School Facilities Division publishes this anywhere, but since this is a part, the plan itself is on board docs. It is available to anyone, and if anyone wants to see Deer Valleys, it is available to them on through that mechanism.
Okay, thank you. And also just a note for the public, I did inquire about why it says Prescott and a phone number that does not work. And on the Deer Valley end, we can't do anything about that. That's this entity's form, so it's on them to fix it.
Thank you for that clarification, Dr. Pack. And we'll try again. We've asked in the past to have it clarified, and perhaps one of these days we'll make some headway.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Ms. Mock? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. Item 6C, Dr. Pack.
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve the annual financial report for fiscal year 2024-25.
Second.
Ms. Mock.
President Carver, members of the board, Dr. Finch, and guests. I didn't have one long presentation. I just had several right in a row so that I can get the same airtime as Dr. Galligan and Dr. DeMarteau. Tonight, my next required item for the evening is the annual financial report for fiscal year ending June 30th. Just to give some context for the report, Deer Valley Unified School District has over 192,800 individual account code strings in our financial software. We used over 35,000 of those last year. And the sum of all of those lines are pulled into a complex Excel workbook. So despite the fact that we all use these highly technical enterprise resource planning systems, school district financial reporting still is managed in an Excel workbook. I will give the state credit that the Auditor General's Office and ADE has actually improved the reporting through the workbook significantly since I started working with it over a decade ago. But there's still a lot of, it brings to light perhaps any coding errors that might have occurred during the year. So I would like to actually give significant credit to our Director of Finance, Megan Quayle, who was completing this report with data and account code strings that other people brought to life, and sometimes we had to go in and fix and try to make heads or tails. Also going into all the expenditures for the year was over 8,700 purchase orders. So I commend all of the finance and purchasing staff and accounts payable, everyone who helped put in the cash, the expenditures, and to make it all work. I'll start with some highlights on the total amount we spent. So all funds, for all of our funds in Deer Valley Unified School District, we decreased slightly from $467 million last fiscal year to $422 million this fiscal year. We had a decrease in M&O due to a decrease in enrollment, a decrease in bond spending, as I just talked about, and of course our ESSER grant funds. So our elementary and secondary schools emergency relief funds from COVID are finally 100% spent and all gone. Overall, our M&O spending went down just a little under $4 million, or 1.4%, due to our decrease in enrollment. Spending on salaries decreased about 4.8%. As enrollment decreases, so does the number of classes that we maintain across the district. Our salaries and benefits were equal to 85%, which is fairly typical for us. And we believe the increase can be attributed partially to from reducing our contracted services. We've been working very hard with human resources in getting our transportation filled. We also have some vacancies on our grounds crew, if there's anyone out there who wants to work on that as well. But HR has done a great job in working not just with us, but in some of the fiscal business services world, but in, Dr. McCusker has been working on getting her psychologists staffed, and so I think some of those contracted services helping us increase our salaries and benefits. Our projected M&O carry forward when we adopted the budget back in June was $11 million that we would have had from fiscal year 25 coming into 26. It was finalized at $15.5 million, which was actually a decrease from 24 coming into 25. 24 coming into 25 was about $19 million. Our overall direct instruction was 50% of all M&O spending, and our classroom spending specifically, which includes our direct instruction, our instructional improvement, and our curriculum department, was 68.4% of our M&O spending. This is one of the many pages of the annual financial report. This specifically is just the M&O page. And so you can see on that bottom line where it was just a 1.4% decrease from the year prior. A little better way to look at that is on these next two slides. This is for comparative purposes. This was the 24 percentages that came out of our fiscal year 24 annual financial report. And then these are our fiscal year 25 percentages. You can see some slight changes in categories. One of the things that I would like to point out is that 2300 general administration is where we do have to pay that retiree insurance regardless of what position the individual retired from. So if they were a teacher and their salary was coded in instruction, it doesn't matter. We are required by the Uniform System of Financial Records to code that retiree insurance to function 2300. And we have seen an increase in the cost of our retiree insurance as well. One of the things that you will see differently in the package itself that we typically haven't focused on during our board reports in the past is the food service. AFR is now a tab within the school AFR. One of the late additions to the AFR this afternoon, and we do apologize for the lateness, it's something that had not been attached to the AFR in the past, but it should have been, and that is the school level report. And the school level report is a bit of a pagination monster. When it all comes down to it, it is one tab on a multi-tab workbook that has every one of our schools listed, and it goes horizontally for rows, or for columns and columns and columns and columns. So those 22 pages of that report that is attached in the actual AFR that you are about to approve has been a part of the AFR for multiple years. We just had not included it with the district AFR, and we should have. So it is included there for you today. You can take a look at, once we get done with the approval by tomorrow night, we are required to upload it to the Arizona Department of Education, where it is publicly accessible for anyone to pull, and it will be in the full Excel version. And so if anyone wanted to take a look at that Excel version, it's much friendlier to look at. There's actually a tab that allows you to compare from school to school and different ways of just looking at the spending per school. And we will have a link on our Budget 411 page where we have all of our budget information. Oftentimes I get asked where the financial information is, or folks will say it's not available. We have a very robust Budget 411 page where a lot of that information is available, and budget information is available through the Department of Education for all districts as well. And if you have any questions about the M&O report, I'd be happy to take those questions at this time.
Just a point of clarification with the additional 22 pages. The information has always been in the AFR, just not the detail?
It's a separate document that is completed separately outside of the annual financial report, and it has always been completed. If you go to the Arizona Department of Education site, where they have every school district in the state and charter schools, their budget information and annual financial reports, you will see it there and uploaded for Deer Valley for the past several years. It was a report that was required, and then there was a short time where it was not required, and my memory is going to fail me, but it was probably about fiscal year 21, maybe fiscal year 2021, where it came back. And sometimes the timeline for that report was later than what the AFR was, but now they are on the same timeline, and we are remiss in not having brought it with the AFR in the past.
So I guess what I'm asking though is that the summary, the information that would be considered a summary of this detail report, is it someplace in the condensed document that we have always reviewed and always signed, but the exploded version of this report has not been attached in some time, and that's what these extra 22 pages are. So the summary of the information has been in the document and in the first document that was posted as part of the agenda. These 22 pages is, oh, by the way, we found out we're supposed to be including this detail, so here it is for your reading pleasure.
President Carver, that is a great way to state it. Thank you, and yes. And
Okay.
the only thing, it's broken out for the schools specifically, which you can't see in the summary version that just shows the district as a whole. And so that just allows you to get down to the individual school level. So it doesn't encompass all expenditures, but everything that was listed specifically at a school.
Understood. Dr. Pack.
So just to piggyback off that, the preview of this AFR that we saw did not have those 22 pages.
President Carver, Dr. Pack, the documents that were uploaded yesterday, which before the agenda was released, did not have it. They were added today.
And just refresh my memory without going back to board docs, did we not preview this AFR?
Right, in the summary version. So the information, that's what I was asking for clarification from Ms. Mock from, was that the summary of the information of that 22-page detail was included in the previous document that we have reviewed, right? Because we've reviewed this item before it came to an action item.
President Carver, Dr. Pack, we do not.
We have
This
not?
item comes
Okay.
straight to action.
Okay, my mistake.
And typically on the first meeting in October. Statutorily, it is required by to be uploaded to ADE by October 15th, so many districts will take it on that first meeting in October. And at this point, it is really just a visual compilation or representation of all the transactions that have happened throughout the year. So with those, 8,000 purchase orders that we had, I think Dr. Pack knows as she's going through and signing all the individual lines for the vouchers, it's everything that has happened in all the payroll that the board approved, all of the budget that you approved, it's how it came out. And I hate to use the term, but really at this point, it's an autopsy of what happened last year. And so it's more of a formality to approve it than anything else. But we don't preview it before bringing it for approval.
Thank you for that clarification. I misspoke earlier. I apologize.
Okay, thank you. I didn't remember previewing it, but so I have some questions, if you'll bear with me on the second attachment, the actual AFR, if we can look at that. That your summary was based on.
Now remember, this
I'm
is
prepared.
24, 25 is what we're looking at. So we actually have been over it for a whole year, year and a half now. So that's a reason why it goes directly to action.
Okay. On page 4, line 11, school-sponsored athletics. I just teach first grade, but it shows a 5,966.9% increase. So something got moved somewhere. I don't understand that. For 610 school-sponsored co-curricular activities, line 11. On the far right, it says percent increase, decrease, actual, and it's 5,966.9%.
President Carver, Dr. Pack, because this is a summary, I wouldn't be able to answer what fed into that total without digging into the detail of the transactions, and would be happy to do that and provide that in the next board update.
So this has to be approved and signed and uploaded somewhere else by tomorrow?
President Carver, Dr. Pack, yes. And these transactions have already been made. The vouchers have been signed off on by the board, by the board secretary and myself. We wouldn't be able to go and change, even if you didn't approve it today, we wouldn't be able to go and change that transaction. And so, again, this is more of a formality to have the board approval. If there had been questions, we would have needed to question at the time of the purchase order or the signing of the vouchers, but we can get you the detailed information about everything that fed into that total.
Thank you, I would like that, and I look forward to reading the rest of the vouchers for a total of 8,000 at the end of this year. This really strange number is before my time, so I wouldn't have signed anything with that to get that very strange increase. So I am curious to see what the answer is to that. It sounds like something got moved or something, but.
And President Carver and Dr. Pack, it would require us to look at not only fiscal year 25, but then fiscal year 24 as well, is kind of what Dr. Finch was alluding to, that it's not just looking at last year's transactions, it was whatever was completed the year before. And we may even be so bold as to go back to 23 and just look at a trend to see where that lies historically. And sometimes it's just a matter of needs from one year to the next. If you buy it this year, you don't need it the next year. So that could affect the totals and whether there's increases or decreases.
Okay. And just one more question. I'll note the page for anybody that wants to look it up later. I know you don't have it in the summary. But on page 12, number 6, it states COVID-19 federal relief funds amount remaining to spend, and it shows a $7,666 and some change. Do these funds have to be spent by a certain time, and what can they be used for?
President Carver, Dr. Pack, I'm sorry, what page was that again?
Page 12, line 6.
I would have to look for sure. I know specifically the ESSER funds are gone. Those closed out as of September 30th, and that was after the Arizona Department of Education had extended some of those timelines. But we'll
Again,
have to
that's
look
from
to see what it is
24.
specifically.
Yeah,
And
that's
we've
from
already,
24.
we've already used all of the
Right.
funds. We just went through that earlier tonight.
Yeah, so it would have been spent in 25.
Yeah, this,
Because it had to be spent before September. Dr. Z knows all that off the top of his head.
Dr.
we
Pack,
talked
yes,
about that already tonight. About it being
those
done.
had to be finished by September 30th of last year for all of the ESSER dollars.
Thank you.
Anything
And
else?
Dr. Pack, could you tell me too, just one more, the page number you said for the athletic increase? I was looking on page 4. I could not see what you were referring to.
Page 4,
on-
line 11.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions or comments for Ms. Mock on this topic? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. On to item 7A, it's just a discussion item tonight. It's in regards to a notice we received from the Attorney General regarding open meeting law violation findings. We were instructed by the Attorney General to enter this information into the public record by presenting it to the public and discussing it from the dais. So bear with me. This is about a page and a half. But I'm going to go ahead and read it for everybody's benefit in case they haven't bothered to open the file. This letter that was received from the Attorney General is addressed to our District Attorney, Ms. Denise Lowell-Britt, regarding open meeting law complaint investigation number OML 2024-0032. Ms. Lowell-Britt, as you know, the Office of the Attorney General received a complaint from a member of the public alleging violations of Arizona's open meeting law by the governing board of the Deer Valley Unified School District. The AGO has concluded its review of the complaint and determined that there was a violation of open meeting law. Through discussion between participants from an executive session and a member of the public who was not a participant of the executive session of a matter that occurred during the executive session. The facts recited in this letter serve as a basis for these conclusions, but they are not administrative findings of fact and are not made for purposes other than those set forth in ARS 38-431. Violation. Investigation of the underlying complaint included review of an audio recording of a conversation between DVUSD board member Kimberly K. Fisher and a member of the public. On the recording, during the course of a general conversation including matters related to the board, Fisher and a member of the public discuss a matter between Fisher and Dr. Curtis Finch that took place in an executive session at a regular meeting of the board, with Fisher noting of the occurrence, "Well, he shouldn't have shared with you. It was in executive session, but since you are already aware," that is in quotations. The conversation between Fisher and the member of the public regarding the matter that occurred during the executive session then continued. ARS 38-431 states, "Minutes of and discussions made at an executive session shall be kept confidential except from members of the public body that met in executive session, officers, appointees, or employees who were the subject of the discussion or consideration pursuant to subsection A, paragraph 1 of this section, the Auditor General on a request made in connection with an audit authorized as provided by law, and a county attorney or the Attorney General when investigation alleged violation of this article." Additionally, ARS-431.03 requires a public body to advise all persons attending an executive session that such minutes and information are confidential, and members of a public body and others attending the executive session must ensure that the information remains confidential. Discussion of a matter arising during executive session of a board meeting with a member of the public who is not present during the executive session constitutes a violation of the open meeting law. Before I read the remedy section of this, I just want to point out that this entire thing was brought by the member of the public because of a social media post that was made by Mrs. Fisher, and we've discussed at length and I dare say ad nauseum from this dais about the care that needs to be taken by elected members of a public body, in this case the Deer Valley School Board, when it comes to certain information and certain things, to be careful not to violate open meeting law. Now, violating open meeting law is one of the quickest ways to get rid of a sitting governing board member if the Attorney General were to so decide. The remedy. Given the nature of this violation, the AGO asks that the DVUSD board acknowledge this letter and its contents at a properly noticed meeting. And number 2, receive training in open meeting law with the training to emphasize executive sessions and confidentiality. This letter is not a formal opinion of the AGO and should not be cited as authority in other matters. Any allegations made falling outside the scope of the OML are not included in the disposition of this matter. So this letter has triggered a lengthy conversation between myself and our district attorney to clear up a few vague statements made in that letter. There's some allegations on social media by different folks that the confirmation of the open meeting law was that indeed Dr. Finch had violated open meeting law. Our attorney wanted to be sure that we understood with crystal clarity that the conversation between her and the Attorney General stated very specifically that the violator of open meeting law in this particular instance was Mrs. Fisher. And that is why the governing board has to participate in additional open meeting law training. So I wanted to try to lay some of all that to rest with what's going on out there in social media. The Attorney General has confirmed with our district attorney that the violation was by Mrs. Fisher in having this conversation with a member of the public. That being the case, there is no action item tonight, but the number 2 point on that is that the governing board is to take on additional training. Now, for those of you in the room may remember, the first meeting we had this year was governing board paid, district paid training by our district attorney on open meeting law, what it looks like, what it feels like, and all the touchy-feely stuff surrounding it, of which all board members attended. It is my contention at the next board meeting that we will discuss a third-party legal advisor to come in during a regularly scheduled board meeting and offer a condensed version of the training that we have already received. Furthermore, my 2 cents for what it's worth, since the district has already gone through the expense to try to make sure that this body is educated to the nth degree on open meeting law, I would strongly suggest as a good faith gesture by Mrs. Fisher, or if the board would like to pass some sort of motion, that if the board were to take up the suggestion of the AG and have extra training, I would like to see Mrs. Fisher pay for that training, as we're here discussing on a regular basis the amount of money we do not have with the uncertainty that lays before the district. And yet, I don't really want to use flammable terms, but apparently there's some sort of interesting game going on out there in social to waste district resources and time instead of just following the laws. And so that's my 2 cents. That's the introduction of the letter. We are encouraged to have conversation about this. So if there's any questions or comments from the board, I'm happy to answer what I can. Otherwise, if we just need to have a back and forth to discuss what we'd like to do moving forward. Again, there's no motions being entertained tonight because this is not an action item that will come forward at the next board meeting. Is there anyone that would like to add to the conversation?
I would like to add to the
Ms.
conversation.
Simichek.
In addition to the training that we already have, every December we have a training through ASBA, as well as we have law training in September, and many of us attend the NSBA training. In all of these conferences, we are presented with open meeting law information. And really it is a training in itself. When we all were onboarded as new members and we attend that, we don't necessarily, as the years go on, I find it's not worth the cost as a member who has already been, but for new members to come into that training and have that training in December before they begin their term, we are trained extensively in open meeting law. So it's frustrating to hear that the solution would be for additional training when I feel confident up on this dais have received that training. It's unfortunate that there are board members who continue to not follow the rules.
Thank you, Ms. Simichek. Any further discussion? No. Dr. Pack?
There are lots of trainings. A lot of the ASWIT trainings do have open meeting law, and it's good to hear it over and over again. The letter from Denise Lolbrit suggests that Ms. Smock from ASBA, who I've heard speak, it could be an option, and she's excellent, but I have heard her speak at the ASBA. Just as a note, when I was new, I didn't start my term until January, that December ASBA event we were not part of because we weren't on the board yet, but we did have the training as President Carver mentioned.
Did you attend the pre-conference?
Not before I was a board member, not invited. I had it on my calendar, but we weren't, not before becoming a board member.
But did you did not attend the pre-conference in December prior to? Was that, because I know that before I came on, it was an option for me to attend.
Yes, no, I'm just saying you had made a comment about new board members. Before you become a board member, we don't get the training other than the onboarding. We don't go to ASBA before we're actually a member.
Yes, you do. ASBA, I attended ASBA in December before I became a board member in January. And there's a pre-conference before the general conference.
Okay.
And right now, like, for example, I don't attend the pre-conference anymore because I've already been trained on it. And I was trained on it in December of prior to becoming a board member. So it was an option for you. If you chose not to do it, then that was a choice. But that training is, Sheila is very much on top of making sure that we know much in advance. Like right after that election, she emailed me and was like, this is good training. You'll want to do this, and you'll want to do the pre-conference. So I have to disagree with that in the sense that it was, and I know Mr. Carver was there with me as well for that training.
Thank you.
And really, though, those are all good points and it's good conversation. But the unfortunate part here, without beating a dead horse, is that the identified violator of the open meeting law is the most senior member of this board, working on 10 years of service, has easily attended a dozen open meeting law trainings. And so that's my point and my frustration, that I mentioned that I don't feel comfortable with the district having to pay for additional training. However, because the Attorney General is saying that we need to do our due diligence, because if we don't offer the entire board additional training as the Attorney General and other violations occur, then we have not done our due diligence, and there's no recourse to protect the district as we move forward with that. So, Mr. Botfield, anything additional, Ms. Simchek? Dr. Pack? Dr. Finch, anything to add?
I just want to draw again to the additional letter that Dr. Pack mentioned. Obviously, it's attorney-client privilege, but if you haven't had a chance to read it, board members, go ahead and check that out. It actually is a summary of our attorney, Denise Britt, talking to the Attorney General, and spells it out what actually occurred a little more defined. And so if you have any questions, obviously this cannot be posted online, but feel free to read it. If you have any questions, we can contact Denise.
Thank you, Dr. Finch. Seeing no more discussion, we'll go to call to the public. Dr. Pack?
The board invites public comment on the district's business in general and on any agenda item in specific. All speakers must observe the rules of decorum. Speakers must fill out a card listing name, address, and topic and hand it to the board secretary prior to the president calling the meeting to order. Speakers must make their comments in no more than 3 minutes. If necessary, to accommodate all speakers within the 30-minute overall limit, the board president may shorten each speaker's time. Constructive criticism is in order. Rudeness, vulgarity, disruptive conduct, or remarks disrespecting personal dignity are not in order and will not be allowed. Under the Arizona Open Meeting Law, the governing board cannot discuss or act on any items not listed on the agenda. Board members may respond to criticism made by a speaker, ask staff to review a matter, or ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. If I could please have Jeff Rattay approach the microphone and state your name.
Testing. Test. Can you hear me okay? Board members, that was a fantastic leadoff presentation. The problem is when these voters sit down with a ballot in their hand, they want to know what's going on in the schools right now. I spoke last month about a life-threatening situation happening in a classroom, so let me go over the facts again. I was subbing at Mountain Ridge High School and passed out in a classroom from low blood sugar. I have type 1 diabetes. Hypoglycemia is the leading cause of medical emergencies for kids in school. The administrator in the office assumed I had fallen asleep and had me rushed out of the school while I was pleading for help. At 7 a.m. the next morning, your Director of Human Resources, Mrs. Bushnell, met with me and refused to listen to my medical concerns. She is responsible for this horrible letter that I received from ESI, and they're banning me from subbing in 63 Arizona school districts. I'm wearing a Dexcom, which prevents a relapse. Dr. Finch has made at least 3 earnest attempts to get me reinstated with ESI, and they told him to get lost each time. You are paying ESI, who are profiteers, not educators, a small fortune to provide subs, and they refuse to even meet with Arizona's 2024 superintendent. This vendor thinks you work for them. I am a 100% service-connected disabled veteran, and I have been told the district has likely violated the Americans with Disabilities Act. Do you really want the federal government involved in an investigation that could drag out for months or years? You mean to tell me that if a special needs student were to be found unresponsive in a classroom, the nurse would not be called and the parents would be told to get that child out of the school immediately? That's what happened to me. I was a very competent, enthusiastic sub, and I'm once again asking for your help to return to the Deer Valley classrooms. If you can't help make any headway with ESI, I'm going to be back here on the 28th.
Is that all for tonight, Dr. Peck? Yeah. Okay. Governing board reports. Ms. Simichek.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, give me just 1 second here. We got to change the timer. Go ahead.
I'll keep it nice and quick. Happy National Principals Month here in October. This week we have parent-teacher conferences, so thank you to all of our wonderful teachers who are putting in the extra time to meet with families before school and after school to be able to meet the needs of all those families and hear how we can best support our own children. I just wanted to thank our teachers for that as well. I don't have a whole lot to report, although I do want to remind people that the override ballot, the last day to mail is October 28th. You should have received your ballot by now. If you haven't received your ballot, I highly recommend that you contact the Secretary of State to try to find out where it might be, because this one is extremely important for us, and based off of the timeline when they were mailed, we should have them by now. So double check your mail, get that ballot, fill it out, and mail it back the same day. It's always frightening to be at the bus stop the day of and parents say, "Oh, I think it's counter." No, just get it done, please. We had a really low turnout, like 9% the last time we had a mail-in ballot from DVUSD parents. And so oftentimes it's a nice reminder of until that personally hits you and you don't see that, you're not affected by it and you don't really do anything about it. But for all of those families who have a future kindergartner, we will not have full-day kindergarten if we do not pass this override. So I want to remind you of that. Also, 8% of it pays for our teacher salary. And as we heard earlier through the override presentation tonight, we will see class sizes increase if we cannot pass that override, as well as our counselors, reading specialists, and other support staff. Extracurricular activities, we have already seen fees go up for our students and their families so far because we had to start cutting down that $11 million this year. So I can't argue, or I can't explain enough how important this is. Did receive an email from a member of the public who shared with me that he shared some concerns about the override, and one of the other responses I have when I hear people tell me that they don't have kids in the district anymore, and so it them a couple things. If you're a homeowner, which is what this will affect, it affects your property value. So if you choose to not invest in public education, you are not investing in your communities, you are going to start to lose property value, because when families go to buy a new home, they look at those schools and they look at those grades of those schools and they want to, and if they're low, then they're going to go buy somewhere else. So that's your property value. That's something that you have control over. In addition, these students are the individuals that are going to be helping you in your future. They're going to help you in your retirement. They're the ones that are going to, assist you when you're in the hospital, or, just so many variety of things. These are the students that are going to be taking care of you. So let's invest in them, because we have invested in our others in the past, and it's what we do. It's what we need to do as a public school, as a community. So remember, your schools are the heart of your community, and I just want to remind people to please, please, please mail in your ballot before October 28th. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Simichek. Mr. Botfeld.
It's time for another session of the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, Ms. Simichek gave you a very good presentation on why you should be voting for the override. Second, whoops, I don't know how many of you have seen this magazine, but those are Boulder Creek students. And I'm giving this magazine to Sheila so that if any of you want to read it, it's there. Third, I don't know how many of you know this, but I'm a marketing teacher. I taught marketing on the college level. I ran a marketing research firm. So I got interested in CTE, and I went to a marketing class at Boulder Creek. I've got to tell you that those kids did a better job in 1 hour starting at 7:30 in the morning than my college students did who were 4 years older than they were. They were pretty good. No, they were great. Let's go to the bad. There was an interesting post on a website which said that Deer Valley teachers are stupid. It took this character 3 paragraphs to explain why. And in those 3 paragraphs, there were 14 grammatical errors and 7 misspellings. That's bad. The ugly, it's still me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Botfield. Dr. Pack.
Congratulations again to all the students and PTA and all the great things in our district. It's pretty exciting. It brings back memories of BLA kids, because I did that when I was in high school. And one of the young men tonight I taught in kindergarten, holding back tears seeing him do so well at Mountain Ridge and some of his classmates. So very exciting. October is Dyslexia Awareness Month, in case you don't know that. 1 in 5 students in every classroom may be dyslexic. Dyslexia masks intelligence, and intelligence masks dyslexia. Many brilliant and successful people are dyslexic. Keira Knightley, Tom Cruise, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Richard Branson, to name a few. There are numerous free resources available for teachers, including free or reimbursable training through the International Dyslexia Association, the Reading League, and others. The research has been around for 50 years, so we know better, we need to do better. Reach out to me if you'd like. Even seasoned teachers can easily adjust their instruction to meet the needs of students with dyslexia, which helps all students become better readers. That's my pitch for that. I attended the Arizona School Board Association County meeting held on Monday, September 29th, and interacting with other school board members from other districts is very helpful and informative, as we have common ground and we can share ideas, suggestions, and solutions. Unofficially, on behalf of ASBA, I would like to present President Carver, Mr. Botfeld, their certificates that you were recognized for, and I clapped for you. Just real quick. This Friday and Saturday, Maricopa County is hosting the Maricopa County School Board member training. You can never be trained too much. And I attended it last year and learned a lot, and I will be attending it part of this Friday's session and all of Saturday's session. My fellow board members are welcome to join me. You've probably been to it if you've been on the board for a while. It would be nice to have the district represented with some of us at the same table. I think it's free this year, actually. I paid last year. And of course, I've been reviewing and signing lots of vouchers and asking clarifying questions. Fun fact, the district, if I read the voucher right, paid $23,000 for Scotch tape. We are indeed a large district. And to wrap it up, I would like to quote Matt Learman, who is a keynote speaker and has presented at several ASBA events. And these are his words, which resonated with me. Disagreement isn't the problem. Unreasonableness is. How can we turn conflict into conversation and build trust in how we govern and work together? Just some food for thought. That's all.
Very well said, Dr. Pack. Appreciate that. So in the last couple of weeks, or 3 weeks, I guess it was, since we met last, I was able to attend 2 out of the 3 homecoming parades that have happened so far, Boulder Creek and Barry Goldwater. Unfortunately, I could not make it to my alma mater's parade, but I understand that it was absolutely amazing. If you have not had a chance, all of our high schools now run homecoming parades through the neighborhoods, and there's still 2 left to be had. One this Wednesday, and I believe next Wednesday. This Wednesday is Mountain Ridge. Next Wednesday is Sandra Day O'Connor. If you haven't got to witness one of these, you're really missing out. For example, Deer Valley High School had 40 floats this year. They had alumni for as far back as 1985 showed up to participate in the parade, and they also showed up at the football game with me, where I found a gentleman wearing a very similar jersey to mine. He wasn't sporting the same face paint, though, so I was a little bit disappointed. But on that note, the Deer Valley Skyhawks won their homecoming game against Lake Havasu in a very close and hard-fought game, 24-23, I believe the final score was. I was just about ready to put my Skyhawks in the same category as the Cardinals there for a minute, but they were able to pull it out at the last second, so I was really excited about that. I did attend the Amcor groundbreaking out at the 303 and Lake Pleasant Parkway, $7 billion worth of investment to get this facility up and running. They are looking to be a community partner. They are looking to find ways to work with the school district to make that relationship strong, just the same as TSMC was. And I just want to remind the community what we touched on with Ms. McKay. When these corporations come to town, a lot of deals have been made at higher levels than just us to get them here. And the bonus for us is that we now have these organizations like TSMC, Amcor, and some of these other 30, 40 feeder companies. They're going to take up a large property investment footprint. And in doing so, they are going to reduce the amount of Deer Valley Unified School District taxes because, as Ms. McKay alluded to, the amount of our pie is a fixed amount. I know that when I was growing up, I just thought I paid my property taxes and all of it went to the school district, and it was just a fixed percentage of my property value. And now that I'm older and I've had a chance to get on this side of how everything works, I found out that that's not really the case. And I know that that's what the community thinks because as I've been out in the community, everybody wants to know why these organizations aren't paying for so much of the needed infrastructure that goes along with this growth. And that's just not the way that it works. They will help reduce everybody's tax burden so that together we can get everything done. Something else I've learned sitting on the Village Planning Committee, and I don't know how many of you know this, but when development goes out into the desert or into undeveloped land, the roads that are out there, our city doesn't build those. I don't know how many of you knew that, but the developers of the property on each side of that road build out to the halfway mark, right? So that's why you go down some roads when there's a community on the right-hand side and it's paved, it's beautiful, there's a street light, there's trees and everything, and then the other side of the road is still dirt because nobody has bought that side yet. That's part of the deal that works in the city of Phoenix, that the streets and all that get developed by the developers when they come in. So I did hear a question from somebody at the last Village Planning Committee. Why is it that the schools aren't built first like it used to be, like back in the 80s when all this development happened out here and schools were already there? Well, that's because the district was forward thinking and asked for bond money before people started breaking ground because they knew it was coming and the community believed that it was coming and they wanted to be prepared for it. Same thing's going to happen here. So we can either be prepared and build as everybody else is building, or we'll end up being behind. That is for a different ballot measure in a different year, but I just wanted to point that out. Also, I attended a home meeting, and what I mean by a home meeting is people in the community, they have questions they want to know answers to, things that we do, things that we talk about, things that's going on in the district. I am always happy to go out into the community and make myself available for these home meetings. I don't care how many people are there. There was only 5 people at one of these meetings. There was 13, 14 people at another meeting. Just understand that if any of us ever do that, we're not speaking as board members because we only have authority as board members when we sit behind this desk, when we're one of 5 people. Other than that, we're just somebody in the community that might know a little bit more than you and can impart that information with you. Other than that, happy to serve. Thank you for everybody that stuck through tonight. I know it was a long one. I apologize. It happens once in a while. Dr. Finch?
all that good information for sure today. I always tell the audience to rewind the tape. That's a term from the 80s. Actually, rewind. You could use a pencil and spin it. That works pretty good. Cassette tapes are way back. I have also attended different meetings with Mr. Carver throughout the community, different LDs from both sides of the aisle, and just another meeting a couple days ago. And it's always nice to get invited to those and have an opportunity to correct misinformation. And so that's something that is part of my job, to continue to tell the Deer Valley story. And so thanks to the groups that continue to invite us out. If you want us to do that again, no problem, just let us know. We'll come out to your meeting. I won't be able to make, there was one, I did have an invite for next week, but I can't make it to that one. No, Mr. Carver's going to have to carry the torch for me. But in general, if you want to know more about the facts about Deer Valley, let me know, and I'll come to your house meeting or to your company meeting, whatever you need. I'll see what I can do to fill you in with the latest on Deer Valley. And if you don't know how awesome Deer Valley is, just rewind the tape and listen to Dr. Dave Monarteau and Dr. Galligan for about an hour, 45 minutes plus or minus. They just went on and on and on about how we're just crushing it. And so go ahead and rewind the tape and watch that as well. A true testament to the grit that it takes to stay committed to the objective. And over time, those results pay off. And to move a machine of this size takes time and dedication by everyone that participates. The people that pay the bills, the bus driver that has the first smile for the kid, the parapro, the administrator, the staff member, the teacher. We're all part of the same machine that produces these good results. And it's something to be really proud of. And I've been accused of bragging too much about Deer Valley, and I'm sorry, I just can't help it. Pretty amazing district. I do have a new podcast coming on. Just finished recording it today. That one's going to be on CTE. So cool conversations with some CTE teachers. So check that out. You can listen to old episodes as well on YouTube and Spotify and those other places where you get your podcasts. We did have National School Lunch Week this week. So thank your cook, and you might get an extra scoop of something. And we had National Custodians Week during break, and we honored those folks that keep us rolling, keep the machine nice and clean. Thanks to those folks as well. We did have an awards ceremony. We have one pretty much every month before the meeting. Those where you hear about the kids that scored a perfect ACT or a perfect SAT, or some teachers that had some cool recognition or a PTA. So again, go back and watch those. You can get caught up on all the things that we do. October 6th, we celebrated Dawn Pace at Barry Goldwater High School. She was Assistant Principal of the Year. We got a chance to hand out some cookies and have a good time there with the Goldwater staff. Goldwater's really been on an upward trajectory and doing so well. The trajectory has been a commitment over time. They just were, as you noticed in the awards, they were noted as the first PLC, Professional Learning Community, model high school in the state. And so that's something to be really proud of. They just were A-rated last year for the first time, and now have done it again. So the Bulldog is barking. It's making some noise. And so congratulations to the Bulldogs. Last but not least, our marching bands, it's that season right now where they are playing. It's kind of like college football. And if you win, you get a higher ranking next week. And if you lose, you go down one. So it all comes together at the very end. So if you want a chance to see, we own 2 of the 4 divisions. We have state champs from Goldwater, and we're working on a 4th time from Mountain Ridge. You need to come see that. And October 21st, I believe, at O'Connor, around 7 o'clock. then you can see all 5 Deer Valley bands and give them a little cheer for all the hard work they put in, which takes, they start in the summertime. So it's a full-time contact sport, marching band. That's it. Thanks.
Just a quick reminder to board members, we passed a policy a couple meetings ago that said that all board members would subject themselves to an IVP fingerprint card. If you already have a card, please come in so that Ms. Taylor can make a copy of it and add it to our file. If you do not have a card, please come down to the district office so that we can get the background check run and your fingerprints done so that we can all be in compliance with the policy that we all passed. And that's all that I have. Future meetings are on the district website. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Everybody drive safe. See ya.